Business Bureau, that's not always that common for people in this line of work. They want a Torch Award for Ethics from the Better Business Bureau. Collier & Thompson on Manchester and Baldwin, next to Uncle Bill's Pancake House. Collier & Thompson, come home to quality. Online at collierandthompson.com.
This is wide receiver Luther Burden III. Come support NIL and get a quote from my friend James Carter.
Thanks, Luther. That's right. For every quote you mention Luther Burden III, we'll make a donation to NIL on your behalf. Check us out online at carltoninsurance.net, 314-961-4800.
Billiken Nation, this is your head coach, Josh Schertz. We want everyone to know SLU is for the Lou, so get your full season tickets now for as low as $125 or experience the excitement up close with 100-level seats for $540 by visiting SLUBillikens.com today. The 24-25 home schedule is a competitive one, with many teams picking at the top of their respective leagues. Pack Chaifetz Arena to show the nation SLU is for the Lou. Buy your tickets now by visiting SLUBillikens.com.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan. I regret not managing my finances better in my 20s and my 30s, and now I see how crucial it is for achieving major life goals. Mark Hanna with Evergreen Wealth Strategies helps everyday people every day with their finances, discussing cash flow, liquidity, investments, insurance, and tax-efficient strategies. No matter your financial planning stage, Mark will boost your confidence and keep you on track. Learn more at evergreenstl.com.
Equitable Advisors, LLC, member FINRA, a broker-dealer and a SEC registered investment advisor. Equitable Financial Advisors and MI. Evergreen Wealth Strategies is not a registered investment advisor and does not provide tax advice.
The Illinois Recovery Center is dedicated to providing precise and authentic care to those seeking help and treatment. Recovery, it's not just a goal, it's a transformative journey. At Illinois Recovery Center, you'll find an unwavering commitment to provide the support, guidance, and personalized care you or your loved one needs to rediscover a life filled with purpose, strength, and lasting renewal. If you or someone you know wants more information about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or visit IllinoisRecoveryCenter.com.
Hustle and Heart Sports Performance is the one-stop shop for St. Louis area football-specific and athletic training located in O'Fallon, Missouri. Hustle and Heart utilizes the top trainers in St. Louis, led by its owner, 8-year NFL vet Pierre Desir. We have a 40-yard turf field, college-style weight room, red light sauna, and a state-of-the-art recovery room to service all of your athletes' needs. For more info, check out hustleandheartsportsperformance.com or call Dustin at 314-440-8457.
There's nothing more important than the look and feel of your home. So now's the time to make your home your retreat. Replace your tired old windows and doors with Marvin replacement products designed to improve comfort and efficiency. Fisher Window and Door Store, a reputable local company, will guide you through the entire replacement process. Their experts will help you make the right choice for your home, and they'll measure, design, and install your new windows and doors.
Hi, I'm Jim Fisher. Since 1941, the Fisher family has provided you with quality American-made building products, including Marvin Windows and Doors. Come visit one of our showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, and let us help you increase the value of your home.
Bring that distinct sense of quality to every room with Marvin. Visit Fisher Window and Doors' huge newly remodeled showroom in Brentwood or Fisher Lumber in East Alton, Illinois. Quality and comfort starts at Fisher Window and Door. Online at fisherwindow.com.
Hey you, it's Dr. Pryor. If your mouth's been getting more action from late night pizza than it has from a toothbrush, it's time to come see me. At 100 West Dental, we know how to clean up your act and your smile. Whether it's overdue cleanings, a chipped tooth from a wild weekend, or just getting that fresh, I'm definitely not hungover grin, we got you covered. Look, we know you're not shy, so why shy away from getting your teeth right? Book your free consultation at 100westdental.com and let's give you something to smile about. Because hey, you deserve to be as smooth as Tim's golf swing.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like a steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
Want to take on some legends of TMA?
Sound the same to someone who gives a damn about the best fans in baseball! Tired of it!
The show's so great. Will there be a little speaker system out behind the dumpster, so in case you're servicing me, I'll be able to hear my name?
Then nominate yourself to be this month's TMA Listener of the Month. And if you win, you'll get recognition and other stuff. Sometimes all you have to do to win the prize is be a female.
All it takes is one fake girl to just throw this show completely off course.
Give us your name, a photo, and other pertinent information at TMASTL.com. The TMA Listener of the Month Club, quenched by Milagro Tequila. Welcome to a brighter side of tequila with Milagro. Find out more at TMASTL.com. KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. Rise and shine, St. Louis. It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After on KPN-TFM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. At the Morning After STL on YouTube and on TMASTL.com with Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Iggy Strode, and Action Jackson.
7:07 in St. Louis. You're listening to TMA. It's presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. Welcome to our Munganess St. Louis Acura, Munganess Burkhardt Alton Toyota 7 o'clock hour. Doug, we got one today, brother.
What do we have?
The Cardinal press conference.
Oh.
How do you do? I know the people want to talk about it, and that is certainly what we will do. We were going to have the Colonel today, and I was texting with Jackson last night. I said, I love the Colonel. I don't know if I love anybody in the world more than the Colonel.
Really?
My wife and children included.
Yourself?
Okay, me,
okay. You, and then the
Colonel.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Eloise.
Yeah.
I can't. Is Abigail Mack retired or not? I can't tell if.
I don't know. But anyway, Gabe has been waved off.
That's correct.
Okay.
Colonel's got big news today.
Stand down, Gabe.
He's now with 24/7 Sports. He's left the Rivals Network, and so you can go follow the Colonel at 24/7 Sports.
Huh.
And I have a feeling that's going to be an incredibly successful venture. So tip of the cap to the Colonel. But we waved him off because with the Cardinal press conference yesterday, that's going to be the focal point of today's first hour, without question. So we welcome people to participate. 636-900-4TMA. Callier and Thompson phone line, Schaefer Door Company. Text inbox 314-881-TMA5. Email in for the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Do we have a sudden death playoff today?
We do.
You're damn right we do. Buck Swope has forced a one-game playoff for the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling Email of the Month competition for September. So that'll be coming your way at 9:50. And then Jackson will have a balloon party. And then after balloon party, you will gather the top 5 for the Milagro Tequila Listener of the Month. Papal Conclave.
Yeah, Papal Conclave to occur this afternoon. So stay tuned.
And we have to vote.
That's right.
You get to vote.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Let's
I like
change
get
our
to.
mindset.
Have to. We don't. I guess we don't have to. We get to.
Yes.
You can abstain.
You could.
Yeah.
Make it a real pain in my ass.
Oh.
Or I could just decide that would be that.
That's what Buck Swope thinks goes on, just for the record.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to the Swope's picks on that.
Well, that's
I think
fine.
It's a 3-parter.
There's a paper trail. These things, messages are saved, receipts are kept.
You could have doctored the logs like Colonel Jessup.
You can't handle the truth.
Think about that. Speaking of that, the Cardinal press conference.
Oh, yeah. We keep getting sidetracked.
Doug, your reaction?
It was about what I thought, really, which was there's going to be changes. We're not really going to tell you too much what the changes are, except, by gosh, we're going to make better players down in the minor leagues. That's kind of the overview of it.
I got to tell you, the Michael Gersh to Vice President of Special Projects is one of my favorite things in my quarter century of what you call a Hall of Fame career. When I watched that, I'm just like, oh, my God. He's under contract for another year. We got to justify removing him. We want to be polite, very Midwest, as opposed to just, you didn't do your job, sorry, tweet at me about it.
What are the special projects?
Exactly. And who is the president of the special projects? If there's a vice president of special projects, there's got to be a president.
My question set today for Balloon Party is called Little Piddles, Vice President of Special Projects. It's my new role.
Okay.
Well, he didn't do anything as general manager, so he's not going to do anything in this made-up role.
Well, but did he have the authority to do anything?
I thought, I've been Does Jackson, do you call it giving out flowers?
Giving flowers.
Giving flowers. You don't give them out,
Doug
you
says
give flowers.
Laying hosannas.
Yeah. But for real, I mean, Katie Woo's story, felt like Katie Woo asked one question yesterday. That's it. I mean, to me, it's, and I'm not like trying to rank, 'cause I don't know, I'm not down there, but it seems like Derek Gould would have the equity, beat writer for 20 years, and Katie Woo with The Athletic / New York Times, and the story she had on Friday was the story, I don't know, probably the story of the decade, as a matter of fact, with regarding news with the Cardinals. And I feel like I heard one question from each one of them yesterday. I don't know if that's because people are mad at them or mad at Katie. I have no idea. But Katie asked one question of Bill DeWitt, and he kind of, I don't want to say he scolded her, but he went out of his way to disagree with her. I thought the most impressive person at the dais yesterday, fortunately, is the guy who eventually, what's John Mozeliak's farewell tour comes to a conclusion, will be the guy, and that's Chaim Bloom. So that's good news, I think, that he seems like he's able to communicate directly. But the lack of self-awareness / accountability from the remaining portion of the day, specifically Bill DeWitt Jr. and John Mozeliak, I guess in a way, like you said, Doug, it's kind of what you would expect. Yeah. Even though you continue, or I continue to hope for something different, they continue to just run it out there and have no interest in changing it. So you're telling us there's going to be a change. The only change that is of note is Bloom is going to be more involved than be the president of baseball operations, and that Michael Gersh is vice president of special projects.
Well, they did say that the payroll is likely to be lower.
But as far, okay, great, wonderful. But as far as, what was that about yesterday? Really, I mean, if we take a step back, I know people are raging about it, but what was that about? Was it announced that Michael Gersh is going to be the vice president of special projects and Bloom is going to be in this purgatory role?
It was the hedgiest, change press conference I've ever seen, where no one really got fired. Nothing really is going to change. We're going to talk a lot, and eventually there's going to be some structural changes.
But giving out my flowers, or I apologize, giving my flowers, I thought Ben Frederickson's column this morning, the Post-Dispatch, was outstanding. More recommended reading. The title of the column, and I don't know if the columnists are necessarily responsible for the titles of these columns, but Ben Frederickson, by prioritizing send-off season for John Mozeliak, Cardinals cloud message of change. And he writes, on Monday, the strength of Mozeliak's grip on his role as king of Cardinals baseball operations was on full display again as the organization announced what it's referring to as a philosophy shift that aims to lead the Cardinals back to, well, what the Cardinals used to do best, which was draft and develop players who became internally produced answers for annually competitive and often contending teams. And who will be leading the start of that overhaul? Mozeliak, of course, the same entrenched leader most directly responsible for his historically successful organization's continued backslide. Yes, in this final season of his current contract, Mozeliak will be trusted by Chairman Bill DeWitt Jr. and his ownership group to start the repairs Mozeliak not only allowed, but punished some for speaking out about. When Mike Schilt got mad about the Cardinals losing their way, he was fired by Mozeliak in brutal fashion. Now he's in the postseason with San Diego, and the Cardinals, instead of pointing to philosophical differences with Schilt, are saying their philosophy needs calibration. Go figure. Ben Frederickson, STLtoday.com.
I wonder, how can it be a change of philosophy to emphasize developing your own players? What have they been doing? What's the minor leagues all about? You have a director of scouting and many scouts who work under him and minor league coaches. What are they doing? Are they just trying to get into the Florida State League playoffs? Is that the desire of the minor league system?
Palm Beach.
They're just now determining that it's important to develop our own players? Really?
Well, they also said that they're still excited about the young players, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a moment.
And the money that they're going to save on payroll, they're going to reallocate those resources to player development. So you cut Paul Goldschmidt, you get rid of that $26 million a year. You're going to pump $26 million into new coaches and scouting, and it takes that much.
I would take the massive under on that.
I would too. How many more people do you need?
I absolutely. I mean, that was one of the parts of the Katie Woo article.
Okay, but say you hired 20 people and paid them all $100,000.
But it's not just about salary. It's about overhead. Hey, listen, overall, I think yesterday could have been, no baseball pun intended, a home run if there was accountability for those who played a role in the demise, specifically John Mozeliak. And yet there wasn't. I mean, for real. The overall message, I think people are on board with. I also think so far we're in the very early stages, and maybe it hasn't resonated with people, although I get the sense that it has, that this is a rebuild, even though they're not calling it that for whatever reason, but fine. But the issue, it's the same thing we've been talking about now for a while, is the people who played a role in the destruction are getting the opportunity to build. And it just does not stand to reason. And in a way, I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say gangster because it has a super negative connotation, but by Mozeliak saying, okay, I'm going to leave at the end of 2025, or 2025, then I think DeWitt's like, we kind of asked him to stick around. He didn't really want to do it, so I would feel badly, so we'll let him do this. And as Ben Fredrickson writes, and I sent Brendan Schaefer, who is at KMOV, correct, Doug?
Yes.
Did a great job with this post-game, I call it post-game press conference, but it was the post-press conference audio. That's where Jackson and I were texting about it last night and talking before the show. That's the real press conference. And who stuck around for the press conference after, where they're sitting there and kind of reading like off a teleprompter, like it's KOMU with the frozen delivery? John Mozeliak. Bloom was taken out of the room. Mozeliak sat there and answered questions. Yeah. Bloom's the guy. Bloom's the story of the day, supposedly, outside of the new special projects VP. But Mozeliak's the guy who's answering the questions. And he's continuing to be the one responsible and answers the questions as such, says, I'm still going to be the guy, and then Bloom will take over. And you're just going, do you not have any idea how frustrated your fan base is? And in addition to that, you're saying that this is about massive overhaul, but then the guy is going to still be in that position. And for the record, by the way, I'm in a weird spot because I really do like John Mozeliak. Not that that matters, but just for the record, this isn't like some personal vendetta I'm carrying out. But I, for the life of me, don't understand what the organization is doing to allow him to be the one to be orchestrating the rebuild when he played a role in its demise.
Yeah, I mean, that's how he starts out that media scrum, is saying, like, if you guys need stuff, you're going to come through me, like always. Like, it's like, I'm here, I'm doing this.
That sounds harsher than what he was saying. I know you're not intending to do that, but just for the record, because I would imagine 95% of the audience didn't see that. But yes, he tried to establish the difference between how things are now, and essentially there really wasn't much of a difference.
Yeah.
It's something else. Anyway, all right, what do we got here, Jackson? You've seen all the audio. I sent you Brendan Schaefer as we went through that last night. You tell me what you want to go with here. What do you think is the most... And I don't think the stuff from the press conference is the most eye-opening. I think Mozeliak from Brendan Schaefer's YouTube channel is the perhaps most informative for our audience.
I think him talking about the roster in 2025, he has a nice little contradiction in here.
Oh, that's outstanding. You are right. That's my personal favorite.
Yeah, so we'll play this. Is from the post-press conference media scrum.
In terms of like what we may have to trade or do, I think that's a little premature. Obviously, there are some decisions that have to be made pretty soon on options, but ultimately, I do feel like the way we're set up, we do have some flexibility. And yes, this is a reset. Yes, this is going to be where we're not focusing on necessarily like building the best possible roster we can, but we're also excited about the roster. We do have a bunch of young players. We also have some emerging stars at the minor league level. And then, how we potentially could augment that over the course of the next few months, time will tell.
We're not going to build the best roster that we can, but we're still very excited about the roster.
Yes, this is a reset. Yes, this is going to be where we're not focusing on necessarily like building the best possible roster we can, but we're also excited about the roster. We do.
Who says we're not interested in building the best roster?
And then there's this and a bunch of people going, oh, okay.
Sure, that makes sense.
God.
Why would you admit that you're not going to build the best possible roster?
Because it doesn't matter in their minds. Now, it does actually matter now, but in their minds, it doesn't. And I also thought another one that was damning was Bill DeWitt III. I think this is soundbite 8, when he was asked about how they're going to get the fans back. I couldn't believe this one.
Yeah, we're working on our game plan. We're doing a lot of work, looking at ways to improve and freshen up the game day experience for our fans.
New Kiss Cam.
We'll see some new things next year in that regard. Look, we got a really nice core of young players, so I don't think we're going to be short of marketing messages to our fans in terms of what to look for and what to be excited about. I think also, this is something that we haven't really done in a long time, or at least in our tenure. So I think we're looking at different ways to market the product and the experiences of being down here. We're looking at every aspect of the operation, really, not just on the baseball side, but on the business side. But no, I think we're not. We're very hopeful about where we are with our ability to reach fans and sell this team. But, the reality is we're in a little bit different situation than we've been in the past. We've got a bunch of things we're working on for season ticket holders that creates what we think is a great value proposition, some additional things that, in addition to what we did last year even. So that'd be my take on kind of the business side and the marketing side.
Game day experience.
You gonna turn us into like the Marlins and the Brewers where they couldn't have anybody? You got a giant slide in the outfield, a big fish in the outfield?
Well, I wouldn't mind that.
You like a good fish?
I'd like a giant cardinal out there with a glove or try to hit the home run ball into his beak. I'd like that. I'd go to see if they could do that.
Guys, so what I heard there is they have no plan. Thanks. That's from Maxwell Hall.
Yeah, I felt like nothing. It was kind of similar to, is there going to be a prize for the Dotem in 2021? Is there going to be a little something?
Free putting green.
It's not the game day experience that drives people to the Cardinal game. You might have to do that in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
You might have to make just the experience there a carnival-like atmosphere. Here, we're in it for the baseball.
Yeah.
And if the baseball is no good, we're just not going to be turned on by it and probably not going to go in very big numbers.
And so I think one of the things that the organization misses out on, I think there are two main things, and I want to simplify it to just two things, is the following. Number one, I really do think, and I don't know what year it was, I'm sure some of our listeners may be able to immediately give the year. It probably, I think, was 2018, give or take a year, when we had Mozeliak on, and you at that point had 16 and 17, I believe, which were disappointing seasons. They weren't terrible, but they were disappointing seasons. They at least were truly in the mix until the final game, I believe, of each season, unlike this year, where Bill DeWitt Jr. did actually try to go with, we won 83 games this year. He was the only one to do it, though, in fairness, yesterday. That I brought up to Mozeliak at spring training, there's some real frustration. And he went with the Russell Crowe, Maximus. Well, are people not entertained? Which just shows a disconnect, number one, and then number two, that we're living on the past. And you can call it confidence, you can call it arrogance. I know most in the fan base would say arrogance. And I believe it's that arrogance that has been, in some form, compounding interest to get to this point. And the arrogance was kind of spun with, well, we went to the playoffs all these years in a row. Well, you did, but, it was 2019 and 2022, really. And 2020 was what it was, and 2021 was certainly not a real playoff run. I guess by definition, you were in the playoffs. So we're starting to move the goalposts then. The truth is, since 2015, when the team won 100 games in the regular season, they've won one playoff series. That's actually, that's 10 seasons. So you have that. And then secondarily, and the part that I just can't wrap my head around, but I guess number one feeds into number two, is there isn't anybody inside of the Cardinal echo chamber who says, our messaging is dreadful to our fan base. And I think, in a sense, even though this sounds like a tweet that would get a bunch of likes from some kind of, random account trying to get their career going, but I think they take the fan base for granted. And so, therefore, I think they think that the fan base isn't particularly bright and they're just going to keep showing up. And so the things that are said are really insulting to the intelligence of those paying attention, because what people have been complaining about for a number of years is essentially what they were acknowledging yesterday. As Ben Fredrickson presents, Mike Schilt complained about the philosophy for the organization. He gets a bullet put in his head. Mike Schilt is leading the San Diego Padres in a playoff game this afternoon. The Cardinals just announced that Mike Gersh is going to be the vice president of special projects. But other than that, really nothing is changing, except we're going to lower payroll, and Bloom is going to take over, not next year, but in 2026, in part because we have a contract with Mozeliak, and in part because we gave Oli Marmol a contract extension, and we're not just going to pay dead money. That effing contract extension with Ali Marmol is still the George Washington on the Mount Rushmore. I'd love to know, truly love to know how the hell that came to fruition, even though, for point of clarity, I'm not blaming this on Ali Marmol. I still think that was one for the ages. A last place finish, here's your contract extension. Why is that? Because we fixed the pitching. Did you? Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, Sonny Gray, Miles Michaelis, Steven Matz. Let's go get them, boys. So overall, when you watch that yesterday, you go, here's an organization that for whatever reason won't make substantial changes, even after 2 seasons of this caliber. But what I think they're going to do is they are going to take a step back, which I believe is necessary. And weirdly, I think the Cardinals are going to be closer to a championship, or at least 90-plus win seasons, by making the decision to go with the pay cuts. I think that's a good thing, as opposed to this kind of hybrid model that they've been hovering around for the last decade. I think that's a good thing. But from a fan base perspective, I think people are irritated, and understandably so, that there is not accountability in the form of people losing their jobs when they don't perform, because that communicates this is acceptable. And for the fan base, that, I think, is what has their ire at an all-time high. For real, I think this is the worst, certainly in the DeWitt era. It's like the stock market. Every week there's a new high for the Cardinals. Every week there's a new low. And we are at that as we speak.
With Mozeliak, when I try to wonder why they have such loyalty to him, it must be that he's been in this job since 2007. He is so close with the DeWitts. They're joined at the hip. They must get along great. They're more like family than guys who work together. And I think their loyalty to him is almost like he's a member of the family. That he had great success early. He's been 6 playoffs, a World Series, a couple pennants, and that's still what they're clinging to. And I'm not sure how bad they'd have to be in order for them to get rid of him. Probably wouldn't ever.
I would
until his contract expired.
Well, I mean, that's cute, but, it's business.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm thinking. I think that's what's going on.
I think you're 100% right. They're allowing him to stick around for the farewell tour. You don't do your job, you get popped. That's the way it is. At me. Fine. Don't care. That's the game. Do your job. Shut the F up. And with regards to the dynamic of the operation, I thought one of the most holy crap moments, because picture other sports organizations. Bill DeWitt Jr. is asked a question about the payroll for next year, kind of gives an answer, and then John Mozeliak says, well, and he steps in. Can you imagine? I mean, I'll present, I think, what would be the most extreme example. If it's a Dallas Cowboys press conference, as if there'd be anybody else up there, and Jerry Jones is fielding questions of the owner of the franchise, and then, somebody under him who receives a paycheck from him then says, hold on a second, Jerry, let me...
CeeDee Lamb.
Yes, CeeDee Lamb is up there. Mike McCarthy has a take. I mean, take your pick of any other organization. I mean, even the Blues, and as kind and gentlemanly, I guess, for lack of a better term, as Tom Stillman is, I don't think Doug Armstrong would go, hold on a second, Tom, let me... you know what I'm saying? There's just a dynamic. Just picture wherever it is that you work. Like if we were sitting here and they're talking about TMA and John Kioski answers the question, and I go, John, 1 second, let me...
handle this for you. I think Mozeliak is more on the ownership level than it is on the employee level.
I agree with you.
Yep. Yeah, and when that happens, things get homogenous. There isn't necessarily a difference of opinions, and when that happens, execution aside, messaging alone is just like a self-inflicted wound. You're going to miss on players. You're going to sign a Brett Cecil every once in a while who's going to stink and it's going to hamstring it. But your messaging is something you can truly control pretty easily, just with a difference of opinion.
Yeah. I thought it was a little bit eye-opening, too, that they gave Bloom a 5-year contract.
I couldn't agree with you more.
That's a long time if it doesn't work.
I thought the same thing. I'm glad you bring that up. I couldn't believe it.
I would have thought two, maybe two.
I mean, what does that tell you about, to me, my initial read was I'm going, wow, for a guy who hasn't done it, hasn't done it with this organization, he's getting a 5-year deal. And what that tells me is that they were in no position of leverage. That's what that tells me. That's my screaming tell. And that he doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of faith in the operation, that he's like, I haven't done it, but these guys have a reputation for being dated. I need to make sure I protect myself. I thought the exact same thing. Great observation, right on target. I would have forgotten that, but yes, because that's not getting much attention.
One of the things that I think and to your point, you and Doug's point about they just don't say anything. They just keep saying the same thing. But I think there was a point yesterday where somebody, I don't know who asked it, about the fans not showing up. And I'm paraphrasing here, but, well, we did win 83 games, and we have an exciting club. And I go, what?
That was, I believe, the Katie Wu question. Do you know which one that is on the list here, Jackson?
Yes, sir. That would be right.
Do you have Katie's question by chance?
So I wanted to get that in there. Very thankful to the great Tanner Hendrickson.
T-Diddy.
T-Diddy. Of BK and Ferrario, who made cuts the entire press conference. Very grateful for him. He did not include Katie's question. I'm not going to lambast him for that. It's a good audio clip. Here it is.
All right.
I'm not sure I would agree with the assessment. There's been a concern for the years. We've done pretty well in drafting and developing players historically. I think the bar has risen, as Heim would say, and there's much more analytics now attached to it. You look at our team, and where did these players come from? We've got. I think I could be wrong about this, but I think I saw that our 6 young players played the most innings this year of any other team's 6 youngest players. So obviously we've had success in that model, and but things move and change, and as Heim says, if you don't keep up, you're going to fall behind. So this is a matter of catching up to a degree and building to a degree.
Yeah. Well, those young players they talk about, they didn't do squat this year.
I mean, you got Mason Wynn.
He's the one that you get excited about. We were excited about Walker. I don't know.
And they kept talking about being a young team. I mean, I don't necessarily see that. I mean, I guess maybe next year it's going to be a young team, because certainly first base is going to get different. I have a major sneaking suspicion third base is going to be different. I think catcher, really DH, it could be different. And then the rotation. What in the F is young about the rotation?
Well, he said it's full. Jose Luck said the rotation's full.
It's got to be one of the oldest rotations in baseball.
Yeah, the average
as far as what the rotation allocated dollars were. And they had to patchwork it because they have nobody coming up going into the 2024 season. Now, you may have it coming here with McGreevy, with Matthews, with Hentz, perhaps with Palante too. Okay, but as far as what was on the field this year, I don't know what they're talking about. Don't get me wrong, there are young players, but as far as the organization at the major league level being a youthful team, what in the hell are they talking about?
Mm-hmm. Certainly not flourishing young players.
That's absolutely correct. Hey, Tim, I've got a business proposition. Let's buy a business and hire a management team. Let's let them flounder at said business for a good decade. We'll then make an announcement that we've really screwed up, but we have a good feeling the same management team is that right group to fix it for us. As long as we have a funny DJ playing silly games in between innings for the game day experience, I'll personally be happy. That's from Vice President of TMA Special Projects, Mario in Charlotte.
Oh, gosh.
Mario in Charlotte now.
Okay. Vice President of TMA Special Projects.
Correct. That's what he's in charge of.
We could use some special projects.
Player development?
Yeah. I think the young player performance is what is most disappointing about the whole team, I think.
Well, that's it.
We thought Walker was going to be a star. He's a long way from that. We thought Gorman was going to be a much better hitter. He spent the last month in the minors. And there's been one after the next like this. Wynn surprised a lot of people, and he looks terrific. He's not on that list. But the others have got a long way to go to prove that they deserve a regular spot, an everyday spot in a major league lineup.
Yeah.
Jackson, do you have This was a sneaker one from, I call it the Brendan Schaefer audio. Brendan's where we got it from his YouTube channel. Mozeliak talking about people being critical of the Cardinals not developing players. I think it's soundbite 3 from what I see.
Okay.
I hope this is it.
All right. Let's hit soundbite 3, please.
Well, there's
Okay, Pale, no excuses. Let's hit soundbite 3, please.
Okay, soundbite 3.
Doug, soundbite 3.
That's the one I'd love to hear.
Trace.
Okay, go ahead. Hit the lever, please.
Pitching ready? Is the young pitching ready to take the burden of
That's
that?
I definitely think so.
That's not soundbite 3.
That's fine. It's not a big deal. But here we go. This is what I was looking for. All right. I see now that there's 2 different lists. There's 2 soundbite 3s. That was that the confusion?
Yeah, that was my issue. That's my fault.
Was that 3A or 3B that you just
I think I was actually
3A.
looking for 3B. No, I was looking for 3B. Let's see.
Why players aren't succeeding at Major League at the MLB level?
Yeah, but that's 3A.
No.
3B is the young pitching one.
Do we have a 3C?
Oh.
I only got an A and a B. There's 2 lists of clips. Point being, here's by the way, and again, this is similar to my observation on Katie Woo's article on Friday, and then Derek Gould getting Mozeliak on the record on Sunday night. I personally don't think that's a coincidence. No one may be interested in that other than me. You also saw the way Katie Woo was dismissed yesterday. Others might not be interested in that either. I follow that crap. I think there's a reason for it because I think she went into the hornet's nest, and now she's going to get, and Mozeliak's pissed, and so he's going to go to Derek Gould. And I observe these things, especially in a small market like this, where that's okay. Well, that's my currency. You did me wrong. Now I go to Derek. I think one of Katie's biggest sources, and I don't know this, was Oli Marmol. That's what I think, and I think that there is real tension between John Mozeliak and Oli Marmol. That's what I think. And I think, and maybe it started before the Jordan Walker thing, but it certainly became on full display when Marmol was on KMOX, and then an hour later, Mozeliak was on KMOX saying the exact opposite thing. And one of the things, and what I was looking for in soundbite 3, but it's on me because I didn't specify this to Jackson. That's 100% my fault. Is Mozeliak's, people say players aren't ready when they get here, but that's not true. And I'm going, he's saying Oli Marmol said to Katie Woo, players aren't ready, even though he did it anonymously, that players aren't ready when they get here. And I would disagree with that. And again, that wasn't at the dais, that was in the post thing. And I believe that was a refusal of Oli Marmol's anonymous complaints to Katie Woo. I could be wrong. I want to make that clear. No one has told me that, but that is my observation. That's where I think a lot of that came from in Katie Woo's article. And that's why I think when Katie asked a question yesterday, which was a completely fair question, Chairman Bill DeWitt, took his stance and said, I disagree with you, and I think that we have developed players. And I'm going, okay, well, if that's the case, then why are we having this announcement? Is this really about Mike Gersh's special projects?
Could be.
What else is going on?
And therein lies the hedge. It's like you talk about how player development is.
People want to hear you acknowledge it isn't working. Right. That's all. That's not tough to do. And then internally you might be like, I disagree. But part of running a business is falling on the sword, as unfortunate as it might be, or having the awareness that your customers are not happy. And that is part of running a business, which is what I go back to with messaging. And the messaging is just so tone deaf. I'm in awe of it. But I guess when you just sit inside of an echo chamber, that's how you lose your cognizance. So that's why, even though he's now part of it, to hear Bloom talk, I'm like, you can tell he's not necessarily part of the clique. He speaks the language that I think fans can relate to, as opposed to feeling like, hey, how are you going to get fans back? Now the game day experience. Okay, how would you say that things have gotten to this point with player development? Well, I'm going to disagree with the player development. Wasn't that what this is about?
Right.
Okay, we're about to make changes. Well, yes, we are going to make changes, but I'll still be the guy you go to, and I'll be the one handling the trades. Okay, well, then what changed? Mike Gersh has special projects.
Yep. The change is Paul Goldschmidt's not going to be back.
And probably aren't. I mean, if you're knowing or not, Another 30 for 30. Nolan Arenado, John Mozeliak, Orange County, in, what was that, 2022, I guess, right around this time, 2 years ago. What in the hell was he told? We're going to sign a catcher who's going to be a DH, and that'll do her for this year. Can you stick around? I mean, that guy, at this point, he's got a handful of years left at the major league level. He's had 0 postseason success. You can say, well, it's on him. He played in 2 effing playoff games in 2022, and then he was part of the Rockies organization, the Vanderbilt of Major League Baseball. And, there's no way in the world I would imagine he wants to stick around for this, unless he's just happy here and like, okay, fine, I'll be Charlie Blackmon.
Yeah. If I had to bet, by year's end, either Arenado, Helsley, or Sonny Gray are not St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, God.
Maybe 2
Can
out of 3.
I parlay it?
Maybe 2 or 3.
They're all gone.
You think they're all going to be
all gone? Yeah. All gone.
Contreras, they could easily live with that. I saw a stat the other day where their record is much better when he doesn't play than when he does play.
Yeah.
And that there's more going on than just him not in the lineup, of course. It's not completely fair. But for what they pay him, you can replace that with Herrera and Paez. Not very exciting, but
be different
you can,
if he catched every
if you're looking to save money.
Yeah. If he caught every day, it'd be a different story. But you're having to use essentially 2 catchers on the roster 3 days out of the week.
So if you're going to rebuild, why even keep them? It's going to be all young players anyway for the most part. I mean, you're Herrera and Paez. I mean, that's perfect for this team.
It might be hard to find a dance partner. Like, I feel like you're going to eat a
you'd
healthy
have to
amount.
you have to eat maybe if you ate
Soundbite 2B, Doug. 2B.
Okay.
This is Mozeliak being asked, I think it was Derek Gould who asked him about the potential for these players being traded.
What does that mean for guys like Nolan Arenado and Sonny Gray? Nolan, who pushed for a trade to be here to contend constantly. Sonny, who signed with that in mind.
Yeah, so those guys are all people that I need to speak with directly, but I wanted to get through today first because I think, once this Band-Aid has been pulled, then I think it's easier to have discussions versus in hypotheticals.
How does that work for you? You have them in your contract, but do you want to hear how willing they are to be a part of this?
I think it's you definitely have to welcome a two-way street.
Welcome what?
A two-way street.
Oh. Okay, so what did that accomplish?
He's saying,
wanted to get through the
this is
news
another thing.
conference?
Honestly, I kind of I'm surprised he didn't talk with them. Although I think maybe he's kind of, as you call it, hedging. I think he's maybe having to play some form of theater there. I can't imagine those guys didn't know. But then at the same time, you look back on, remember we played the sound from Arenado talking about how it's tough to hit there, and the Contreras with his comments following the final home game. Point being, I think those guys knew then what now fans are hearing. The idea that the Cardinals are going to reduce payroll, which I am 100% on board with. I think it's the right move, so good for them for doing it. I think they were aware of it then. Mozeliak saying that was his way to not have to say on that day, as in yesterday, yes, we are going to try to trade those guys. Doesn't necessarily do much for your leverage if you let all of baseball know. What probably is pretty obvious is that we are going to have a fire sale. But if you're Nolan Arenado and you want to try to play in the postseason, you know what the situation is here now. And by the way, most likely in 2026. Now you can have a surprising situation like the Detroit Tigers put together a great September with some young players, and all of a sudden a pitcher emerges, wins the Cy Young, and you got yourself a shot in the postseason. But if you're Nolan Arenado, I can't imagine you would want that. Sonny Gray came here in part because he was promised that this team would be in the mix for the postseason. And it's not like he's 26 years old. So what does he want to do? And I would imagine, whereas Arenado, that might be tough with that contract. Contreras, that might be tough with that contract. I would think Gray would be pretty appealing. Granted, it's backloaded.
Yeah.
It might be a good thing for the Cardinals that it was backloaded because they can get off the books. I think the Cardinals are going to be swallowing some dead money.
Yeah.
That's what I think. You know, Bloom's biggest indictment in Boston was the Mookie Betts trade. But there's another part of the Mookie Betts trade on Chaim Bloom, and that is that he traded him to the Dodgers, and they certainly didn't get a great haul with the benefit of hindsight on that. But what he attached to that trade was David Price, and David Price was making, I think, $30+ million and was just DOA. I think he only threw 100 innings in his 4 seasons with the Dodgers. So part of that trade was we got to get that money off the books. And he comes into a situation where Chris Sale, who is, what is he going to win the Cy Young, you think, in the National League?
Sure.
But at the time, he was damaged goods, and he just signed an extension with the Red Sox. Betts is a free agent in a year, and John Henry, the owner, says, we got to trade him. We got to get something for him. And David Price has a monster deal. And so the Red Sox he comes in and he inherits a disastrous thing. So his strength was in player development with the Rays. He gets hired because of that, kind of like if you've seen Moneyball, that's what they wanted to do with Bean in Boston. He stayed in Oakland, but then he was charged with managing a different type of situation. He managed more of an Oakland situation in Tampa than he did a Boston situation, and then he was charged with, hey, you got to unload all these dollars and then try to build this thing back up, except we want to win immediately. And they did get to the ALCS in 2021 and had a lead on the Astros in that series before Houston came back. So his skills, I think, are more in player development and building back an organization that is cutting payroll. So that fits the Cardinals, even though for the DeWitt era, that has not been what the Cardinals are. So that's a good thing. But I think the indictment for him is something that I don't know who would have been able to handle that well, because I don't think it was necessarily about let's get something for Betts. I think it was let's get David Price off the payroll. And the Dodgers took a lot of David Price's bloated contract when he was damaged goods at that point off the books. So he gets blamed for it, but I think that there has to be some context to what took place in Boston.
Yeah. They didn't get much for Mookie Betts, but the Red Sox didn't care at that point.
Yeah. Hey, if that's what your boss tells you to do, that's what you got to do.
Oh, yeah.
And, he came in, and it sounded like he's like, you know what? I think this Mookie Betts is a bum.
Yeah. Let's sell him while he's hot.
Yeah, and that's 5 years ago.
Right.
Now the guy's playing, second, short, outfield, and raking everywhere.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised after the press conference if Arenado and Sonny Gray called Mozeliak and said, trade us.
I would be stunned if Nolan Arenado specifically is back. Gray has Nashville ties. It's relatively close. They don't have their expansion team yet, so he can't go there. And that might be. There's a chance there. I would bet he's gone. Arenado, I'd be stunned if he's back. And at some point, I would love to know what he was told to not opt out in October of 2022, and how furious he has to be about what's taken place with regard to the organization. Because the Cardinals acquired, since that meeting with John Mozeliak in October, Wilson Contreras, Lance Lynn, Sonny Gray, and Kyle Gibson. And I guess if you want to talk about Andrew Kittredge, who, don't get me wrong, is a very fine reliever, but if that's what he would have been told in Orange County in October 2022, stick around, here we come, I can't imagine he would not have opted out. But perhaps maybe we'll hear from him on that. Either way, like I said, I think if you have all of that messaging yesterday, and John Mozeliak has been reassigned to a position on the business side to help us with the television deal and, whatever other business elements that need to be tended to. Chaim Bloom is now the president of baseball operations. I think so much changes as far as the approval rating for that press conference. But because that didn't happen, I had somebody who's been covering sports in St. Louis for decades text me, I've been to a lot of press conferences. That was the worst one of all time.
Yeah.
There you go.
They made it sound like there was going to be huge bombshell news coming out of this. And there just wasn't.
The special projects vice president.
Yeah. We're going to improve player development. So we're going to try to get those scouts to follow and draft the right guys this time.
Focus hard.
And then our minor league coaches are going to try to get them prepared to play ever increasingly more difficult baseball as you climb the ladder. That should work. Haven't they done that? Isn't that been the backbone of baseball since the minor leagues were formed?
Right. But then also at the same time saying that they don't think the player development's that big an issue, like how what Bill DeWitt Jr. said.
That was like, well, it matters when people acknowledge that it isn't going well, and instead it was like deflection. And then what are the changes? Like, what was that? Like, if you really take a step back, I realize most people, for real, most, and by most, I think like 80+% are really angry about that. Yeah. But at the same time, what was it? Overall, I think what they're doing is the right thing. And I think it's a good thing for the Cardinals. It's very rare for the Cardinals. It is, and by rare, I mean it hasn't happened since Bill DeWitt bought the team 30 years ago. But the messaging of it was so hedgy
Yeah.
or lack of accountability, either in action or words, that I don't think that necessarily came through. If it would have been, hey, the same thing that he said in 2018, some places it's fine, but not here. We win. And in reality, I'm the chairman of the organization, and it's my responsibility. And therefore, today we are signaling to the fans that we are making a change. We're going to ask for your patience because this isn't what we've done in my 3 decades. We've had a great run, but unfortunately, recently we've fallen behind. And here are the steps that we're going to take to get back to what we believe will earn your trust in your business. And just saying that, what would have changed as far as the overall correlation between fan satisfaction and the organization's message increases exponentially. But because they sit in a room in an echo chamber like an effing message board, they don't realize the dissatisfaction of their customer base. And it's such a shame because for St. Louis to have an adverse relationship with the Cardinals is like Green Bay having an adverse relationship with the Packers. But that's the point that we've come to. And for the life of me, not only does it sadden me, it confuses me.
And it feels almost like Gersh was the scapegoat. Of all people to blame, him? I mean, he does the administrative work behind the
But
scenes,
you knew that
right?
was coming. You knew
That's what I said yesterday in Balloon Party. I said they're going to be sacrificial lambs. I thought there were going to be more. It just wound up being Gersh.
I thought he did. I thought he handled like the contracts and that kind of thing.
I don't know. I think that's another thing that fans are frustrated by is this guy is the GM. He's the one who's just been forced into this new role. I don't know what the hell it is, but no one even knew what he did beforehand. But he's a major figurehead with the Cardinals, and no one knows what he does or really anything about him.
Well, there are behind-the-scenes people in every organization that have some influence, but they're not the top dog.
They're rarely called general manager.
Yeah. Well, they didn't used to call anybody president of baseball
Sure,
operations.
I know that
either.
that all just a title. However,
it's like the assistant general manager.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I mean, Mozeliak has 9 assistants. You know what any of them do?
I don't. What do they do?
Assistant to John Mozeliak. He's got like 9 of them.
Yeah. Well,
buy his wingtips.
I don't think he wears wingtips, does he?
Oh, loafers.
Probably.
I want to make sure I tell people about some of our friends who make the program possible, Doug, such as Munganast.
All right.
I think Jamie Burkhardt's a friend. I've just decided it.
Well, sure he is. Has been for years.
Yeah, he is. What are we talking about? 6 years, I think, maybe? It's Munganast, St. Louis Acura, Munganast Burkhardt, Alton Toyota online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. Sponsor the 7 o'clock hour here on TMA, official automotive provider of the program and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. Presenting sponsor of Balloon Party online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com. And if you want to call them or text them, 314-252-0029. It's Munganast, St. Louis Acura, Munganast Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. Design Air. Seth Goldcamp's a friend, too. Friend of the Feather.
Yeah.
Design Air is the official HVAC provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast, and the place that Doug goes, Iggy goes, and I go whenever we would have an HVAC issue. Design Air Heating and Cooling is online at designairservice.com. Seth is 4th generation at Design Air Heating and Cooling. It's Design Air Service, official HVAC provider of TMA. No upselling going on. They're just going to fix it, and that's that. It's Design Air Heating and Cooling. DesignAirService.com is where you go. It's where I go. It's where I recommend you go as well. It's Design Air Heating and Cooling. Doug, would you like to tell people about Collier & Thompson?
Well, what Collier & Thompson is your go-to source for every design consideration. Whether you need a new kitchen, a bathroom, going to redo the basement, a wine room, man cave, bar, fireplace walls, knock out some walls, make the house more open. You name it, Collier & Thompson does it all, and they've been doing it since the 1950s. Their employees have more than 160 years of experience now. Carolyn Beard and Bob Strati have both been there more than 20 years now. They own the place. They've both been on the show. Wonderful people, and they would like to help you turn your house into what you want it to be, and that is a gorgeous little show place. You ought to check some of the before and after pictures they have on their website at collierandthompson.com. They can make any tired old house look like the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. That's what they'll make your house look like, a little piece of the Ritz. They do everything. They've got their own contractors right there. They don't deal with a bunch of part-time contractors. Maybe they'll show up, maybe they won't. No, this is a first-class operation. Their people have been working for them for many, many years. You don't have to go to 5, 10 different places to get a job done. Collier & Thompson's got it all right there in-house. Contractors who can take care of everything. A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. That's a big deal when you're talking about contracting and getting things done with your house. You want people you can trust, and you can certainly trust them at Collier & Thompson. Very nice showroom, more than 10,000 square feet, more than 20 kitchen displays out there at their showroom on Manchester in Baldwin. Collier & Thompson is where you need to go if you're really looking to upgrade your house and make it look like the home you've always wanted. Collier & Thompson is definitely the place to go. Again, on Manchester and Baldwin, right there next to Uncle Bill's Pancake House. Come home to quality. Come home to CollierandThompson.com.
Mentality's online at lowtusa.com, a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. It doesn't matter what age you are, low testosterone can be an issue with any guy. Even if you've tried testosterone before, not everyone understands the blood chemistry in men's bodies. Mentality can help. The normal range for testosterone is large. If you've been to a doctor and they told you that you were normal without understanding the range or testing your free testosterone, it wasn't fully looked at. Come get checked with Mentality. Online at lowtusa.com. It's Mentality. Compete at sports and at work like you did years ago with the help of Mentality. Get tested to find out your testosterone levels and free testosterone levels at Mentality. It's lowtusa.com. You're welcome to call into the program. Collier & Thompson phone line, 636-9004 TMA. You're welcome to text into the Schaefer Door Company. Text inbox 314-881-TMA5 and email in. We have two separate design, air, heating, and cooling emails of the day today. You have the showdown, the one-game playoff with Buck Swope and Kevin Miller. You feel like Kevin Miller just got nervous yesterday and didn't hit his normal shots?
Yeah, he got jittery.
Yeah, he went a little longer
too.
with the detail on Butchie. I know what it was, like a snake spit or something like that?
Yeah, it was too long.
And then Buck Swope just played his game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Buck Swope's used to be in there. Right. You said it reminded you of Tiger and Chris DeMarco in 2005 at the Masters. Tiger had been there before, but Chris hadn't. No. Buck Swope's been there before. Mm-hmm. Kevin Miller, this could be his time, but we need him to play the same kind of game that he played for the first 71 holes of the tournament once he gets to the 72nd hole.
Yeah. This Swope is a tough customer.
Yeah, he is.
He's got a little formula that he uses, and it's very effective. It's worked for him for many, many years.
So Buck Swope and Kevin Miller are doing their thing, and then you got the Brian Henshins of the world, the Gunters of the world.
Gen Pop.
You just kind of peek their nose in, look around a little bit, and then exit.
They'll be competing for October 1st as well. The morning after at InsideSTL.com, that comes your way at about 9:50. Then we go down the hallway. We'll deal with it. They will really not be happy today, and it might not be about us on Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. So there is your captain's log here with TMA and Balloon Party. Send your emails in for QFTA. Anything is welcome. I imagine we'll have a Cardinal-centric QFTA this week. TMCKERNAN at InsideSTL.com. That's questions from the audience. Tim McKernan Show podcast. If you're looking for a libation, we have the TMA Banty Brew, which is now available not only at Salt and Smoke with Tom, but at Friar Tuck's, a 16-ounce canned wheat ale with orange and coriander, a cross between an American wheat and Belgian wit. This refreshing ale is made with white wheat, ground coriander, and fresh whole oranges. Head to Salt and Smoke, any Salt and Smoke, and now Friar Tuck's locations to try the new TMA Banty Brew. Head to TMASTL.com to see the can and find a participating location to try it for yourself. All right, there it is. My understanding, Doug, is Ed Herman is in the building.
Oh, wonderful.
And Chairman Kurt, if you could bring in Ed.
You got it.
The Brown and Crouppen, presenting sponsor of the program. It's Tuesday, and Ed wants to talk it over with us, Doug, here on the program.
Well,
and he likes when the texters text in as well, 314-881-TMA5.
He does seem to enjoy that.
Yeah,
he does. Interacting.
I think once you kind of get to a point, you enjoy reading, even if it's vitriol.
Here he is now. Hello, Ed.
And I'm encouraging the texters to send in whatever, because I know you like whatever.
I do like whatever, although this is one of those weeks where it seems like there's a ton of stuff going on.
There is.
In the world of sport. And I know you guys have probably already talked through all the Cardinal business.
Yes, we've talked about it for the first hour. What are your thoughts? Did you watch that yesterday?
I read all the articles. I didn't have time to actually watch any of the stuff there. I mean, honestly, I think it's the needed move. You know, I know there are probably people upset, wondering why they have to wait a year for it, but that's none of their business. If they want to hold off and not watch any games for a year and protest, they can do that. But you know, organizations have reasons, you know, human reasons why they do the things that they do.
When you say human reasons?
Human reasons, yeah. I mean, you know, out of respect for people that have been loyal and have done, you know, a good job for a long time. You don't necessarily throw people that you've worked very close with that you probably have a lot of personal fondness for. You don't throw them out on their behind unceremoniously. You know, you come up with a well-orchestrated plan, something that doesn't look like panic, something that provides for a peaceful transition, a helpful transition, gets people comfortable with the new set of circumstances. I mean, as a person who runs an organization...
As a Yankees guy, I guess you didn't like George Steinbrenner's operation.
You know, he had his own way of doing things, and people knew what they were getting into when they went there. If they chose that for themselves, they chose it. Some people thrived under it. Some people were crushed under it. So, you know, but, you know, there's a lot of different leadership styles, ownership styles. I'm not going to crap on one that's trying to be respectful to the people that have served it really well. You would think more people out there would appreciate loyalty, but apparently it's a lost art.
Yeah, I think if John Mozeliak had a different approach in his messaging, I think the fan base might appreciate that.
You know, maybe, but you know what? Do the fans really? I mean, the thing is that I think the fans, in every area, we decide how we want to feel ahead of time, and then everything a person says just goes through that lens. So if it's you see it now in politics. If you like the person, if you support the person, anything they say, you will take it in. It's just like sales. You buy with your heart and you justify it with your head. All of these things are like that. You decide how you feel about something, and then you wrap your psychology and your argument around the justification of the feeling. And that's all that goes on here. It's really no different. So this is one of those situations where if I'm ownership, I get to say, well, you know, that's great, but, you know, this isn't a democracy. This is my business, and I own it. So you don't really get a vote,
Yeah, I disagree with you. I think
that's fine.
The Blues, for example, last year, right around this time, Doug Armstrong held a press conference, said, hey, realistically, you know, we're a wild card team. Maybe we can be third in the division, and then hopefully you get in the playoffs, and you never know what can happen. But our goal is to get back to where we were when we had that Stanley Cup window. And just right now, you look at some teams like Colorado and Dallas. They've got some talent that we just don't have, but we aspire to get back there. And I think the direct messaging from the general manager resonated with the fan base, even though clearly the Blues were taking a different approach than what they had to get to the point where they were contending for the Cup in 2019. And so fans were on board, even though the message was, relatively speaking, similar to what the Cardinals said yesterday. I think what the Cardinals are doing is the right thing. I think they really missed a window in July of 2023 to trade away some assets and have a higher return, as opposed to selling when their assets.
That's true, but we didn't know how it would play out, and I mean, we had our ideas,
and I talked about it on the show. That they're missing an opportunity, but I think the organization has been slow to adapt to change and slow to have some form of a plan.
Right, but built into your analysis, and you're not incorrect, but built into that is the assumption that if we had traded off those players, that the people that would have come back would have been good fits, would have made us a more productive team, a better team on a better trajectory. I don't know that we have a great track record in trading away for young talent. It's been a weakness of the team, if anything.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree, because that's results-oriented.
I know, but what have we gotten?
That again, is results-oriented. You're selling an asset at a higher point than later on when you know you're not going anywhere. And I'm talking about Arenado, and I'm talking about Goldschmidt. The one part of that conversation that is difficult to have is you don't know what they said with regard to their no-trade clauses. Maybe they wanted to stay here.
Right.
So that's an important part of the context.
It's everything.
But I can tell you with regard to fans, when the LA Times reported that the Dodgers and Arenado were interested in doing a deal, fans didn't go, oh, maybe that makes sense. They go, oh, the LA Times has to be making that up, which I thought was a very strange line to take. Because I think at the time, for many Cardinal fans, the idea of having to transition from being competitive year in and year out to, oh, crap, we're in rebuild mode, was very distasteful. But the reality is this thing has been trending in this direction, unfortunately, for the last couple of seasons. And therefore, you sometimes have to make a definitive move. They kind of hovered around mediocrity in 16, 17, and 18, and they did the same thing in 23 and 24 after a great year in 2022. And so now you have this reset, and the same people who blew it in 16, 17, and 18, and 23 and 24, now somehow get the free ride to rebuild it in 2025. And I think that is where the source of consternation comes from. Certainly from myself, and I think others in the fan base.
Well, but, I listen, sometimes you make a bunch of moves and they work out, and sometimes you make moves and they don't work out. I mean, to me, and listen, I'm very critical of the current leadership there, simply because of the number of players they've traded away for reasons that seemed more personal and not necessarily based on their talent, like Adolis Garcia and Rainier Rosarena. And then, of course, we've miscalculated. I mean, we traded away Sandy Alcantara. He goes on to win a Cy Young. You trade away Zach Gallen. He becomes a top pitcher. You keep Art Ozuna. He does okay, but then he winds up with Atlanta and becomes a superstar for the last 2 seasons. So I think that there's just been a lot of things piling up on that side of the pros and cons list that makes them look, like they don't have their A game. But they're steeped in the history of the business, and these things do run in cycles. I mean, sometimes a few of your moves work out. I mean, as far as predictions go, did you have the Detroit Tigers going to the playoffs this year? Did you have the Kansas City Royals bouncing back from the year that they had last year? Did you have the Arizona in the World Series last year or Texas? This is a game that changes very, very quickly. And the players that you have, until you actually see them on the field and whether they stay healthy and whether they go in there every day determined to do their job, you have no idea how it's going to turn out. 3 weeks ago, the Detroit Tigers, the odds of them making the playoffs were like less than, 2%? And now they're in, and they're not even the bottom seed. This is a game that is very streaky. You get hot at the right time with the right guys, and who do they have on their team? They've got the Cy Young Award winner in Skubal. You look at the rest of their lineup. Is there anybody on the lineup on the Tigers that you can really point to and say, well, geez, if the Cardinals just had that guy? Who? Riley Green? Kerry Carpenter? A lot of what goes into this game is just how it plays out on the field. It's not necessarily, won, by a decision that you made 2 years before in the middle of the summer when you were just trying to figure things out. I don't know. I just think it's a lot harder than it looks.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody was presenting that point or disputing that point. That's a separate conversation.
No, I'm just saying it's, you say, well, they should have gotten rid of those guys at the time. Maybe you're right. But I also know this. Arenado had multiple opportunities to opt out of his contract here.
Yes, October 2022.
And every time that happened, there was that feeling of, if he opts out, he's just another greedy ball player. But if he stays in, man, that means he loves it here in St. Louis. He values what St. Louis has to offer in terms of lifestyle, in terms of fans, and we all felt good about it. We all felt good. We felt like we were chosen instead of greed. But then you look back and you say, yeah, but if I had my druthers, I would not have repaid that loyalty. I would have looked to ship him off the second that I could have gotten a decent price for him, because that's how I want to run my business, and that's perfectly valid. The game is about winning championships. But I also think that there's a place in a business for understanding that, relationships matter, loyalty matters. The message that you send to future players that may come to St. Louis matters. The next star that comes around that wants a longer deal. Knowing that the Cardinals showed loyalty to their veteran ball players, the ones that they signed, that they stuck by them, and they didn't just pawn them off the first second they could, I think it sends a message to the next potential free agent. You can point to it and say, hey, you know what? We stick with our guys whether they're at the top of their game or whether they're struggling. That's one of the things we offer here. You're not going to get that in Philadelphia. You're not going to get that in New York. The second you start trading people, the second that it looks like they're losing a little value, that's the message you send to every player that's out there. And then you got to go figure out whether a guy's going to want to sign here or not.
Yeah, I just respectfully don't.
No.
Don't
listen,
see it that
I don't
way.
disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
They have no trade clauses, so it would be, as Mozeliak himself said, a two-way street. So if we're saying, hey, from the perspective of the Cardinals, this just isn't going to be where we need to be, we're considering trading you. How would you feel about trading? If you don't want to go, you have a no trade clause. You can veto it right here and right there. And, which was what I do believe actually happened with
may very well have been the
conversation in July of last year.
Listen, you can't get some of these guys without putting that kind of protection in their contracts. They've earned it. Arenado's he's been around a long time. He's a superstar. He's a future Hall of Famer. Earned the right to negotiate for a no trade. Got the no trade. Has every right to enforce the no trade. Period. It doesn't go beyond that.
And the loyalty thing. Hey, my God, I'm all for it. But it isn't indefinite. It isn't indefinite.
No, it's not indefinite.
Performing, or if there's other issues going on, hey, it's sometimes you got to move on.
Listen,
I don't expect Bill DeWitt to just go, okay, you got a lifetime contract just because you did some magic in 2011.
I agree, but we're not talking about a lifetime contract. We're talking about an actual time definitive contract that has signatures on it.
Yes, in which Mozeliak has announced that he is going to be done at 2025. So that wasn't anything changed yesterday.
Well,
I think that's where fans are frustrated.
No, I don't think they should be frustrated. I think what it allows the fans to do is recognize, okay, the team has a plan. They're not jumping into it reactionary. They're thinking it out. It's plotted out over time. We can predict exactly what's going to happen. We know that the contract's not being renewed. We know he's not going to be in the organization. We know who's taking over. It's just everybody wants everything this instant, like we were going to turn it around and win everything next year. I mean,
No,
it's a transition.
absolutely not. I think it's a great thing that they're taking a step back. I think
there's
the step
no
back
problem
gets
with the
them closer.
transition. And do you really think that Mo is going to be calling all the shots this year?
Well,
No.
either then he was completely dishonest yesterday when he was asked that question because he said, "I'm still going to be the one handling."
I think what he means by that, and I don't want to put. I'm not. Believe me, I'm not a Mo defender at all. I've been as critical of him as any. But sometimes a good leader of an organization makes it clear he wants to give the new person a little bit of leeway and a little bit of buffer because he knows the new person's not going to have total autonomy, and he wants the new person to come in with good spirit. I think it's a stand-up move to say, I'm still responsible for the moves that are going to be made over this next year because he's given the guy a grace period. He doesn't need the new guy there in charge being.
So you think Bloom is
hit on
actually going to be
everything.
running things
I do.
next year? Do you
I do,
really?
of course.
Okay.
Well, listen, that's how a transition works. You want to mentor and teach and make sure you're understand somebody's wavelength, and then slowly, as soon as any deal that's going to obligate them past this year, I promise you, is going to be a Bloom call. You couldn't do it otherwise because he's not going to be saddled with. I mean, what if Mo went out this year and signed a whole bunch of people to 5-year contracts? It wouldn't happen. I think we would all look at that and say, well, that's BS. This guy's supposed to be in charge. Anything that's going to be contained within the season, Mo probably has more influence over. But anything that's going to extend beyond the season is absolutely a Bloom decision.
Yeah,
I've been in business
they're not
long
gonna
enough
be
to
doing
know
five-year
you
deals
cannot have an
this whole
incumbent person obligating a new person to deals that go beyond when you know the incumbent's going to be there. It's not like the government where they try to do that. You're running an organization built for profit. You're not going to tie the hands of a brand new person coming in.
Well, I
on
think it's going to be
deal.
a sale festival over the next 3 months. So
Well,
I don't think
it
there's
would
gonna
be if we had
5-year
much
deals
to
hanging
sell.
out, minus Chaim Bloom getting a 5-year deal. I don't think there's going to be any.
And yeah, I mean, it'll be a sales thing. But what do you really have to sell? Who do we have that's going to be attractive?
Helsley, I think, is probably going to give you your highest return.
I was surprised it even lasted through the deadline. The closer's always the first thing you trade. If you're not winning,
the
what do you
Cardinals
need a
were in
closer
buyer
for?
mode, though. I mean, whether we agree with it or not.
Listen,
I did. I liked the Fetty trade, even if I see that Edmund goes off and becomes the World Series MVP. Like
Yeah, the
Maria did
Fetty
in
trade
San
was kind of a
Francisco.
hedge, though, and he had an extra year in his contract.
That
so
was the biggest part of it, and that's why I liked it. But I think Gray is likely to be gone. I certainly expect Arenado to be gone. I think Contreras is probably 75% to be gone. We already know Goldschmidt is going to be gone.
Now, if that is the case, then you have to consider this move a really smart move. Because if you're going to be trading away popular people, names that people have already bought jerseys on and what have you, wouldn't you rather have those moves around Mo's neck and not necessarily attached to Bloom on day one?
Yeah, I don't think fans are really that all set about that. I think fans are welcoming the rebuild because they realize they've been kind of hedging here the last couple seasons with short-term Band-Aid fixes with older pitchers.
I agree that that's true, but I don't know that I don't know. I can't speak for every fan. I'm just telling you that some of us are a little bit more understanding and patient of the difficulties in running a complex organization where there are so many variables and so many people that also have to do their jobs correctly in order for the whole organization to work. Yes, it all starts at the top and you got to put the right personnel in, but then the personnel has to do what they're there to do. They have to execute. And you take Detroit. Detroit, point to them again because they were sellers at the deadline. They traded Jack Flaherty, who had done really well for them this year. They traded him to the Dodgers. They weren't expecting to do anything. They weren't going on. They were moving pieces. People were just happy they held on to Skubal. And then look at them. They become the hottest team in baseball the last couple of weeks of the year, and I don't want to face them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, that's an interesting story, but it's a complete outlier.
It's only an outlier because it didn't happen here.
No, it did happen here in 2006 and 2011.
Oh, 2006 when we had the identical record that we had this year. That 2006, we had 83.
That's the one that I brought up.
Right,
2006.
exactly. We had 83 wins then. We had 83 wins now, and it's the circumstances around it that are causing all of the upset. It's not the record.
Well, 2006, that team was injured for 3 months, and then they got healthy at the end of it for the proper context, and then they went off, and then they faced a Mets team without Pedro Martinez. But again, specific to what we were talking about, the Cardinals trading players, that has nothing to do with the Detroit Tigers' success over the last couple of seasons. It's just the right business move if you're going to allocate dollars to player development and scouting, God bless America, then you reduce payroll. And I think for the most part, fans are understanding of that. What I think concerns fans is the same person and organization that played a role in the destruction of that player development is now entrusted with rebuilding it. And I don't understand that part of it.
Well, listen, and I don't know that he had much to do with it to begin with. I mean, Jeff Luhnow, nobody talks about him, and I don't even know where he is these days. But wasn't he really the guy who was the player development guy who was building things up before he went to Houston?
A lot of people talk about Jeff Luhnow, and he had success there too, and then he got cast aside for what transpired with the Astros. But
that was unfortunate.
Specific to Mozeliak, I think he's still resting on his laurels from the run through 2015. But 16 to present day, it hasn't been particularly grand, and they won one playoff series in that time. And listen, I do value stability. I like the fact that the Cardinals, unlike other organizations, and I always compare them to the Pittsburgh Steelers, don't just pop people in the head. But I don't think that it's an either-or proposition.
It's not. To me, it's not. And I make no mistake, I absolutely agree with the move to replace Mo at the top. I think it's for all the reasons you said. I'm only saying that I don't think it's offensive that they're having him on for the last year of his contract. I think it's loyal, it's respectful, and it allows Bloom a little time to sort of be making moves without having to necessarily own them all right out of the gate, particularly unpopular ones. So I would say that this is very hard to know until we see how it plays out, whether or not they're making a good call or not a good call. I just don't think that things like loyalty are a bad quality for an organization to have, even if it means that, there's this awkwardness maybe that goes on for a season. We have to trust that the people that, first of all, the people that own the team, it's their team and they can do it if they want to do it. The fans can react however they want to react. And the fans certainly made their reactions very loud and clear this year. And I think had a lot to do with bringing this move, to bear and making it seem inevitable. I think we all felt this was an inevitable move. I think it's just good enough that they have a plan, even if it means another season.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I actually think it was a good thing in a major way yesterday, a major way. The issue is the manner with which they message it, I think, is an absolute F. And unfortunately, I think that's why that's going to be the focal point versus the organization is taking a step back to get closer to a championship. There was a year, I don't know what year it was, you might know, when the Cubs essentially said, okay, that's it. All these guys who played a role in 2016, this is the end. You had Rizzo coming off the field. He might have gotten traded during the game. Bryant, I don't remember.
It was 2021.
Was it 2021?
Yeah, they
and
cleaned
I remember
house.
saying, and I guess we were still at KFNS at the time, that the Cubs just got closer to a championship than the Cardinals did. Even as unpopular as that was on the north side of Chicago, you sometimes have to make bold moves.
I understand
and I
that.
feel like over the last decade, the Cardinals have been kind of hedging. And I think in part because of their television situation, they didn't feel like they were in a position to risk attendance revenue. And for whatever reason, when asked about that situation yesterday, it's like, well, we're going to work on our game day experience as opposed to the television revenue, which is, I think, playing a large role in their situation.
You have to assume it is. It always does. I mean, listen.
Well, it had been a major reason for their success.
To be. Listen, how do you pay people's salary if you don't have the revenue to pay it?
If you're reducing,
now, that said,
or if you don't get paid like some organizations.
I can appreciate the contrast to the Cubs, but what I don't see is that it's been any more successful for the Cubs in the last few years than what the Cardinals have done. They just finished with the exact same record. I don't see that they have anything going.
And
I'm
I
just saying
understand
that.
what you're saying.
But you're respecting their approach, but the approach hasn't proven to done anything.
Decision. Again, I understand that's results. The Cardinals were in the playoffs in 2022.
Well, what's your definition of a bold decision? I would say a bold decision is one that if you can raise this much ire, you've made a bold decision. I would say what the Cardinals made was a bold
not making a change. That's actually the issue.
I think that they have made a significant change.
Yeah, I guess we just have a philosophical difference as you think Bloom's going to be running the team and I think Mozeliak's going to be running the team. And on top of it yesterday when a payroll question was asked to Bill DeWitt Jr., Mozeliak stepped in and answered it for him. And I think that kind of gives you an idea of the comfort level.
I understand that. And I listen, it's not that I disagree. I understand why you would think that way and you could absolutely be 100% right. My experience is when you have lame duck leadership, it's almost always the new regime that's making the calls, and the lame duck is just that. That's why they're called the lame duck. I can promise you that whatever happens in this election, that Biden isn't going to really be making policy decisions or calling the shots from November,
you want to jump in?
from November
you have
to
something
January.
You want to say right now?
I don't believe he's made any decisions for 3 years.
It's like I could have written the script.
Regardless of him as a personality, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody. The only difference when it comes to a lame duck is like in politics, is if you're changing parties and you now have a limited opportunity to do something in the last 2 months that you couldn't have otherwise done. But if it's within the same party, nah. No, the new person's calling the shots. You have to. You got to give that to them. You're handing them something. They need to know what they're being handed. The only way they're going to know what they're being handed is if they played a hand in it. You know, that's and all I was saying in relation to the Cubs is you applaud their bold moves, but there's just no evidence that the boldness of those moves did anything better for them than the timidity or leveraged
but when you're
hedging of the
resetting,
Cardinal moves.
It's a process that you don't expect. Okay, now in 2022 we're going to kill it. It just you have to make moves sometimes that are selling popular players, and the Cardinals I think have had that opportunity, but have had a hesitation to do that, and therefore have been in some semblance of purgatory. Which is why I think yesterday, not necessarily specifically yesterday, but this reset is a great thing for the organization.
I agree with you. Now that's where we have total agreement. The only difference is that I don't have a problem with the year that the whole thing is going to take, because let me tell you something. It's not just going to be sitting on their hands for a year. There are other moves that are going to have to be made within this organization. There are people that are going to have to be hunted down, enticed away from their current employments. I don't think that they're going to keep the manager.
You don't?
I don't. No.
You think they're going to terminate Marmol?
I do.
Do you really?
I do. I think that's the first. I think. First of all, I don't know that he's earned
I will
the right
tip
to
my
keep.
cap to you if that.
I don't
ends
think
up
he's
happening.
earned the right.
Mozeliak literally was in the paper in Derek Gould's column on Sunday night saying Marmol is coming back for 26 or 5.
Well, he may come back for it, but I mean, he's not going to be their solution in the manager's role.
So,
That's not
so are
going
you
to be
saying
it.
you don't think he's going to be managing in 2025?
I don't think he'll be managing all of 2025. I don't.
Okay.
I don't think he'll make it to the beginning of the season. But even if he does, I don't think he survives the season.
Wow.
No. I listen, and I get it. He had a winning record this year, and he did the best he could with what he had. I just think philosophically, one of my biggest philosophical differences with Mo over the years has been his desire to give people with no managerial experience or minimal managerial experience the keys to a major league team. It's a little bit more complex than that.
I agree.
You know,
I think
it's
you
a
can make a
big.
case
Even
in
if
part
you,
that's for control.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I agree with the overall move to take him out of his position. He's had it long enough.
He was coming out anyway. I mean, I
Well,
assume
not
you know
necessarily.
that. No, he had already
and
announced that his last year was going to be 2025 in that role before yesterday.
So he's going to finish it out, and that'll be that. But he's not going to obligate the team to anything long term. And I don't think Marmol's the guy. I think there's, maybe he'll succeed somewhere else. And that's another thing too. Trading away players that have gone on and done well, that's bad enough. But Schilt, that's a big black eye on Mo's record.
I mean,
he's going to win Manager of the Year this
ones.
year in San Diego, and it'll be the second time he's won the award now with 2 different teams. That's a black eye. It's a lot of black eyes.
You're talking about when he won it with the Cardinals, and then
He won it with the Cardinals. Now he's going to win it with the Padres.
Who do you think is the Manager of the Year outside of Schilt being live for that? I'm trying to think.
The Brewers guy. They lost counsel.
Yeah, that's right. They got a new guy there, and good for
Murphy.
him.
Is that his name, Murphy? Is that who that
I don't know. That's not coming right. And the Mets manager, I guess nobody really knew if they were going to have a playoff contending
23
team
and
or not.
33 in May, if I'm not
Yeah, they were struggling pretty bad. That was a weird day yesterday. Did you talk about that?
What an absolute debacle that is. I mean, if you're the Arizona Diamondbacks, you're at the foot of the bed, sitting on the Davenport.
Yeah.
Once the Mets come back and win that game, and hey, tip of the cap for coming back. Spencer Schwab
Came back twice.
Oh my God, that was sick.
That was nuts.
But then, I mean, the Mets have zero incentive, and my God, Sale was supposed to throw game 2. He has back spasms. He can't pitch. They have to go with the reliever, and the reliever goes out there and magically strikes out 7 Mets who go up there and have an approach like the Cardinals do against the Pirates in the September day game with their at-bats, and he buzzes through 4 innings on 7 strikeouts. And I don't blame the Mets. They got to get ready to go. And
Well, also, I mean, listen, are you suggesting that the Mets did not give the second game their all?
100% I am suggesting
Well, let me ask you that. Well, then that would suggest to me that you think that the Mets are less worried about the Braves in the playoffs than they would be the Diamondbacks in the playoffs.
No, I'm suggesting that the Mets want to stay healthy and get their asses to Milwaukee for their playoff series. That's what I'm suggesting.
Yeah. If I had been the Mets, now I don't know that I agree with you or not.
If I could have bet my bankroll on that being a split yesterday, I would have done it.
Yeah, although the Braves looked like they were going to win the first one, and I think that if they'd have won the first, there's a good chance that they might have won the second.
I disagree with you on that.
But I think that the Mets had an opportunity yesterday in the second game to knock the Braves out of the playoffs, and they should have tried to take advantage of that opportunity. The Braves are a dangerous team. We know they've had health problems the whole year, but you also had tremendous lack of production throughout the first half of the year by Matt Olson, who the prior year had been as productive as anybody in the game. He got pretty good in the second half of the year. So You're looking at a team there. I don't want them in the playoffs. I would have much rather have had the Diamondbacks in the playoffs, who I don't find to be as intimidating of a team. And I know you can't pick and choose. You don't know who you're going to face, but man, you have a chance to eliminate a team that's won a title within the last couple of years, who should be in the middle of a dynasty, and maybe but for the Strider injury and the Acuna injury, they would be in the middle of a dynasty right now. I don't know. They have a chance to knock them out. If you can eliminate a team, you eliminate a team.
They've been in the playoffs 6 or 7 years in a row. The Braves.
7 years.
That's what I'm saying. You get them the hell out of there. If you had a chance to knock them out, you should have knocked them out.
If it's a regular season game and you don't have to play a playoff series starting the very next day, I agree with you. But that was not the choice that.
But don't you think that a lot of that is really just about your starting pitcher? I mean, the rest of these guys are very accustomed to playing every day. I mean, having an extra day of rest, do you think it's going to be the difference maker?
More so, not necessarily difference maker per se, making sure that your guys aren't going to get hurt. I think that's the bigger.
Yeah, I mean, injuries were always a concern.
That's a debacle of a situation for baseball that they.
It was very bad, because the thing is,
I mean, imagine if just put it for the purpose of localizing, and imagine the Cardinals had to watch that yesterday, and the rage that would be going on because it's Phoenix and it's.
It was not good, but also it was a circumstance that was so ripe for manipulation, and when it comes to sport, we try so hard.
Which is what the Mets were complaining, that the Braves called that thing last week and called the game going back to April early, that they manipulated it.
And that's the problem. And that's why when Brent Rooker of the A's, makes a comment, and I knew what he meant, I didn't take him like he was making an allegation, but he was just using as an expression, oh man, this game is fake. Meaning that he was watching the end of the first game, and it was back and forth. It was kind of exciting. And I know he just meant it as this is unreal. But the word fake has become such a hot button word because of a certain person in our society that has taken everything that's real and simply by calling it fake can turn respectable good things into things that are no longer, the trust is no longer there. So when Brent Rooker put that, there's a big backlash on his Twitter. Like, dude, what are you saying? What are you accusing them of? And then he had to put a clarification thing on, and then of course everybody's like, only morons would have needed you to clarify that. And the problem is that I would have said that 10 years ago. I would have agreed. Only a moron wouldn't have gotten that joke. Unfortunately, what I've learned is that we have a lot of morons, and if all it takes nowadays is to take something that can have credibility going back to the beginning of time, and all you have to do is put the word fake in front of it, you can take anything, despite evidence of the contrary. We see the hurricanes going on down there, but all you have to do is put the word fake in front of climate change, and now it doesn't exist anymore. And all of the fact-checking and all of the news that comes out and everything that goes on there, you don't have to actually do anything right. You just have to put the word fake in front of it, and all of a sudden it's all fake, because if you have blind believers, that's what you get. And so when Brent Rooker makes a comment like that, that's the problem with a comment like that. Because quite frankly, yesterday did have, the feeling of even if it wasn't determined ahead of time, it had a certain feeling of, hey, you know what, we're all here, we can all go away at winter, and screw the Diamondbacks, they're not even here. Let's just take care of ourselves. It was ripe for that. And maybe a weird irony that Pete Rose died. Even he was like, this is nonsense. I can't play. I can't.
He just checked out.
That was it. He was like, he's like, this is nonsense. Boom, gone. Did you guys pay tribute to Pete yet today? Is that happening?
This has been all. We moved our guests around today because of that Cardinal press conference. I just knew that was going to be. We haven't had something like that around here in a while, and I knew that was going to be the focal point. But yes, we have not talked about Pete Rose yet.
Well, I think it's worth probably saying something about Pete. Doug, you probably knew him best.
Well, I didn't know him. I interviewed him a couple times.
Oh, did you really?
And it couldn't have been a nicer guy.
When did you? When he was?
When I was down in Florida, and he had teams down there, spring training type interviews. Yeah, he was a wonderful guy, fun guy to watch play too.
Yeah,
he was. I met him a few times and got to see him. In Vegas during his signing years. Mm-hmm. I went down there, met him, signed. He was a nice guy. Brought my son back there years later. He was good with them. That's usually the mark for me. Is I feel about people however they are toward my son. And Pete was very nice.
He was kind.
He was nice. He was used to dealing with the fans, and also most of the fans all had the exact same comment to make to him, which is, you should be in the Hall of Fame. If it were up to me, you'd be in the Hall. So my question to you is this: his ban was a lifetime ban.
Oh yeah, I know.
And his lifetime has ended. The ban I mean, I think technically still remains, but I think there's an argument to be made that a lifetime ban is his lifetime.
Yes, that's kind of like the torturous element of this thing. Did you happen to watch the what was that on? Was that on ESPN?
Oh, it was
the
on
Rose
MLB Network.
MLB Network. Did you watch that, Ed? It was out this year, right?
Yeah.
No, what was it?
Was it on Max?
I think
it was like a
Wait, what was
three-part
it?
series on Pete Rose.
No, I haven't seen any
I
of it.
really recommend it. I mean, and as I'm watching it, it became clear. For real, this isn't saying, although you asked the question, which I'm 100% on board with your perspective on it, that I'm like, what he knows is what's going to happen. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame. They're going to wait until he dies. And in a way, that's almost worse.
Yeah.
Well, it is. It's a little bit of a. You know what it is, though? It may be worse, but it may be appropriate. Because you want to capture the history of the game
And I'm
correctly.
saying worse from his perspective.
From his perspective, certainly,
That's what I'm
yes.
saying, to be clear.
But he did do that to himself.
Oh, I'm not,
I mean,
I'm not
I don't agree
litigating
with it,
that.
and
I'm just
I
saying
think
that became clear when I watched that series that was what's going to happen. So it's my opinion he will be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think he will. But the question is, this year's veteran ballot, he would be this would be the era that he'd be on for, because it's for people who had the bulk of their career prior to 1980, and they're going to have a ballot. Usually have 8 people on there. So the question becomes, there's still enough time? They have not selected who the people on the ballot are going to be yet. They'll be announced probably in a month. And I'm guessing you're going to see Thurman Munson, and you'll see probably Dwight Evans, and you'll see Tommy John, and maybe Vedas Pinson, and then a few executives. But it's going to be people before 1980. Dave Parker will be on, I'm guessing for sure. Will he get on that ballot? Is it too late? Is it possible for enough to happen between now and then to make it to at least as a weather balloon, just to see what a panel of 12 or 16, I guess, is the panel. You need 12 votes. Might approach it, what they might do.
Yeah, I wonder if they would do it that quickly. But I do expect him to be in the Hall of Fame within 5 years, and I'd bet that all day. I'd be shocked. And again, exactly because I know lifetime ban. You're like, yeah, he's never going to get in. It's like, lifetime ban.
Except that same argument was brought up with Joe Jackson, and they said that a lifetime ban is the lifetime of the sport, not the person.
Is that right? Really?
Well, that was basically what their take was, because they're like, if you're not eligible here, you can't be eligible here. But again, lifetime ban.
Then you bring in that Veterans Committee and peers, and I think there is enough support.
And I wonder if they're softening amongst the peers. I saw a picture that was taken of him and Johnny Bench, like in the last week or so.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He was with Bench in the last week?
Which was shocking to me.
He was with 4 other teammates the night before he died. There's a picture
Really?
of him
Yeah.
with Concepcion and Griffey and
You
Perez.
wonder if
The
maybe
night with Rose, the night before
do you
he
think
died.
that this? I don't know what the cause of death was, but it may have been something where his health was deteriorating, because I was shocked
Yeah, he's in a
to
wheelchair in
see
this picture.
a very
Is that right?
friendly picture taken between him and Johnny Bench, and considering how bad things have gotten there.
Oh, it was in Nashville.
Yeah,
that's that's
that
talked
is-
about quite a bit in that series. It was on Max, by the way.
Oh, was it?
I'd
Yeah, I've
recommend
got to
it. I think
seek
it's
that
3
out.
parts.
But I knew enough about sort of the how that all unfolded that to see him and Bench smiling together in a picture
Wow.
was quite surprising. Now, I think the one guy that would not have been smiling ever would have been Joe Morgan. I think Joe Morgan, his love for Pete was long gone and was never coming back.
Was it?
Really?
He
what
was-
happened?
He felt betrayed. A lot of the people from the Big Red
We
Machine,
had,
because they went to bat for Pete. They took his side only to feel like they had been lied to, and they had carried the water for him.
God,
and-
I could be wrong on this, Ed, but we had Pete Rose. I did a show with Jim Edmonds for about a year, and we would have Rose on. I think we had him on 2 or 3 times, and Brett Favre too. It was so random; they would just randomly pop up on the show. But that's what happened. I mean, that was Edmonds, obviously, and we had a great producer, John Seymour, who would book these guys. But we also had Joe Morgan on. And I remember we were doing the show from Llewellyn's and Soulard, which is now that Mizzou bar, right?
Rays.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, Morgan was raving about Pete Rose and adamant.
Really?
Yes.
I gotta
now
look
that
this
was
up.
2014, so maybe something happened in between
No,
14 and
I don't think so. I think
knew
it
about
was-
the bench thing, but I thought Morgan loved him. I think maybe they had a celebration for Joe Morgan.
Well, maybe.
And his family, and Rose didn't hang out with the teammates, but he was in the ballpark in Morgan's
Well,
window.
I'm gonna research this, because I don't want to. I want to fact check myself. I don't want to mislead anybody,
I thought
especially
Morgan
if
was
it's
his
Morgan's
biggest advocate, so that surprised me to hear that.
You know,
maybe
I
I'm wrong. I don't
do
know.
not think Morgan was in favor of Pete ever getting in the Hall, and I think he thought he would never get in. But I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah,
do a little research.
The number of hits he has is like 4,254 or something.
56, yeah.
56. And you could have 200 hits for 20 years and not get there.
And still not be. You could do it for 21 years and still be short by 56 hits. No, the man was a hit machine, and he played for a very long time.
He was a rookie second baseman when Stan Musial had his last at bat.
He was.
What a story
Stan
that is.
Musial's last 2 base hits, I think, were ground balls that went right past Pete.
Right.
You know, not that they should have been played; they were legitimate hits. But talk about the most interesting thing with Air is that the time Musial retires, you know, he's got the most hits in the National League. You know, that was his record. And to think it would someday be beat by the very, you know, this rookie second baseman who was playing there during his Stan's last game. Talk about passing the torch.
Hey, Rose is a guy today, if the scouts went out and looked at a high school Pete Rose, probably wouldn't get drafted.
No, probably not, and it would be a real shame. I mean, say what you will about him as a human being, or the fact that he had a problem with gambling, which again, I personally, you know, I have no problem with him not being allowed to manage anymore because he has a gambling addiction and it's a conflict of interest. But penalizing the work he did as a player when there's really nothing to suggest that anything was ever done inappropriately during his playing days, I always felt was an inherently flawed situation.
Right.
I mean, you know, if they're going to be that critical, it's a wonder that nobody's ever been removed from the Hall of Fame based on some subsequent life conduct. You know, and nobody ever has been. So, I don't know. I think it's nonsense. I think that Pete had one of the most beautiful autographs too. It's probably one of the reasons he was able to make a living, basically signing, because he made 7 figures a year. I talked to his agent when I was out in Vegas, because that's all I'm a Jewish guy, so that's all I was concerned about. It was like
the money that
what kind of lifestyle can Pete have on just the autograph business? I mean, at some point, everybody who wants one's going to have one. Yeah. And with the number that are out there, I mean, they're dirt cheap. You can get a nice Pete Rose signed thing for $50.
It's a lot of supply.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an enormous amount. So, and he said, no, he said he can, you know, between this and his speaking, he'll do 7 figures a year, but he's got to hustle for it. Yeah. You know, I'm like, well, it's good that he's Charlie Hustle then. He's built for it.
Ed, enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure people were terribly critical since I took a position contrary to where most people's
some
anger
people
is.
like some people dislike other people, and in our case, that is certainly the case.
Hey, listen, it doesn't bother me, guys, and I'm not so hard in my position that I would suggest to people that I'm right and they're wrong. I'm just articulating another way of looking at it that may factor on different areas of emphasis. You know, I'm trying to bring the temperature of discourse down a little bit in this country by recognizing it's like I respect everything Tim says, and I also acknowledge he may be 100% right, but I do think it's helpful for people to always hear alternate versions and alternate sides of something. So just to deepen their understanding of a circumstance, you look at a diamond from all facets.
Anybody who takes the opposite side of me is going to have a lot of friends. So,
yeah. So, but that doesn't mean that I'm right. It just means that they got to hear a couple of conflicting positions, and now they can decide for themselves, you know, what they want to factor into their thinking. That's how it should be.
God bless America. Ed Herman, we will close out the 7 o'clock hour, which is presented to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. This is The Morning After, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen.
KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
Looking for the perfect spot for your next private event? Whether it's a baby shower, bridal shower, birthday party, or business meeting, Rosalita's has you covered. Enjoy the vibrant atmosphere in one of Rosalita's 2 exclusive private rooms with a customized menu that is perfect for your upcoming event. And if you're planning a date night, don't miss the lively mariachi nights every Friday and Saturday. Plus, Rosalita's gift cards make the perfect gift for any occasion. Come celebrate at Rosalita's, where every event is a fiesta. Learn more at rosalitascantina.com.
Hi, this is Chris Pondoff from Illinois Recovery Center. As someone who battled alcoholism and addiction for 20 plus years, I understand the dark places you can find yourself stuck in. Alcoholism and substance abuse takes a heavy toll on your body and your mind, but you can overcome it. Start your journey to recovery at the Illinois Recovery Center, a rehab treatment center that provides comprehensive and customized rehabilitation addiction treatment. If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, please know that there is hope. Visit IllinoisRecoveryCenter.com today.
Listeners ought to check out Collier & Thompson, support the sponsors, and have the best contractors in St. Louis work on your kitchen remodel if that's what you want, or bathroom remodel, basement, wine room, whatever. Collier and Thompson does it all, and these are people that you can trust. They have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. That's not always that common for people in this line of work. They won a Torch Award for Ethics from the Better Business Bureau. Collier and Thompson on Manchester and Baldwin, next to Uncle Bill's Pancake House. Collier and Thompson, come home to quality. Online at collierandthompson.com.
There's nothing more important than the look and feel of your home. So now's the time to make your home your retreat. Replace your tired old windows and doors with Marvin replacement products designed to improve comfort and efficiency. Fisher Window and Door Store, a reputable local company, will guide you through the entire replacement process. Their experts will help you make the right choice for your home, and they'll measure, design, and install your new windows and doors.
Hi, I'm Jim Fisher. Since 1941, the Fisher family has provided you with quality American-made building products, including Marvin Windows and Doors. Come visit one of our showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, and let us help you increase the value of your home.
Bring that distinct sense of quality to every room with Marvin. Visit Fisher Window and Doors' huge newly remodeled showroom in Brentwood or Fisher Lumber in East Alton, Illinois. Quality and comfort starts at Fisher Window and Door. Online at fisherwindow.com.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan, and I am here with Seth Goldcamp of Design Air Heating and Cooling, and I have been a long-time Design Air client. What separates you guys from everybody else?
It's becoming more common for companies to just get their foot in the door. They try to come up with different ways to upsell. They try to see how much they can make off of a customer as opposed to, hey, we're in there to do a service. We're going to do it well. We're going to do it for a fair price.
I don't know how many emails I have received from our listeners who experience the incredible customer service Design Air Heating and Cooling provides. It's Design Air Heating and Cooling, online at designairservice.com.
Hello, it's me, Tom Schmidt. I'm happy to tell you about Salt and Smoke and all the...
I'm going to let you finish, Tom, but first, why don't you take a break, okay? You've been doing this for 57 years. Have you had time to think about that? Waffle cones, World's Fair? No. Lean brisket, popovers, Cracker Mac. Whiskeys, bourbons, custom cocktails, maybe even wings trashed. I don't know. But that doesn't matter if you don't accept my love, Tom. Will you accept my love? Will you kiss me?
Salt and Smoke.
Oh, and Iggy should quit.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan. I regret not managing my finances better in my 20s and my 30s, and now I see how crucial it is for achieving major life goals. Mark Hanna with Evergreen Wealth Strategies helps everyday people every day with their finances, discussing cash flow, liquidity, investments, insurance, and tax-efficient strategies. No matter your financial planning stage, Mark will boost your confidence and keep you on track. Learn more at evergreenstl.com.
Equitable Advisors, LLC, member FINRA, a broker-dealer and a SEC-registered investment advisor. Equitable Financial Advisors and MI. Evergreen Wealth Strategies is not a registered investment advisor and does not provide tax advice.
Ready to step your game up to the next level? 5P Academy is the place for any high-level 8 to 18-year-old football player. Based in O'Fallon, Missouri, we have national travel, 7-on-7, and flag football teams with professional coaches. Pre-registration for our 2025 season tryouts in November is open now. Come be a part of the championship-winning 5P family. For more details, email info@5pacademy.com or call Dustin at 314-440-8457.
The choice of a lawyer is important and shouldn't be based on an ad.
After a serious car accident, people have two questions. Why me and what now? Well, no one knows why you, but I'm Terry Crouppen, and my law firm Brown & Crouppen sure can help with the what now. Car repairs, medical bills, lost wages, pain and suffering. We're Brown & Crouppen, and we've got all those answers. All you have to do is call 222-2222.
This is wide receiver Luther Burden III. Come support NIL and get a quote from my friend James Carlton.
Thanks, Luther. That's right. For every quote you mention, Luther Burden III will make a donation to NIL on your behalf. Getting a quote is easy. Just go online at carltoninsurance.net. Call or text 314-961-4800. If you have drivers under the age of 25, if you're seeing rising rates, give us a call or text us 314-961-4800 or go online at carltoninsurance.net. Let's keep the momentum going.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like the steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
Hey, If you like the morning after, check out Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. HD1, by the way. It's sports talk with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. each weekday, right after the morning after. It's the worst named show in the history of radio, but the content's pretty good, so check it out on 101 ESPN or get the podcast on the TMA app.
Come back
Now.
It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After
On KPNT HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis.
Doug, the Cardinals are coming.
Here they come.
It's TMA.
Changes have been made. This team is ready. Too bad the season can't start tomorrow.
Thank you. With some special projects. It's the 8 o'clock hour. It's presented to you by the Fisher Window and Door Store. Get involved on said show. Callier Thompson phone line 636-9004-TMA. Text in Schaefer Door Company. Text inbox 314-881-TMA5. Email in for our Design Air Heating and Cooling Email of the Day. The first segment in its entirety on the Cardinals and the press conference yesterday. That's what we got. That's what we got. So you can go back and podcast that if you want to hear us talk about that. And then Jackson, I'm sure we'll talk about it on Balloon Party on 101 ESPN coming up at 10 o'clock. Before that, though, I mean, this is it. Kevin Miller, Buck Swope. Wow.
That's the big story of the day. It's not what happened at Busch Stadium yesterday.
Design Air Heating and Cooling Email of the Day, the showdown for the month of September. Here's the deal. It's Alabama, it's Georgia. Kevin Miller jumped out to that huge lead, and there's Buck Swope, Kirby Smart, leading his team back. But is Ryan Williams going to be out there, allowing Kevin Miller to reclaim it? Is Ryan Williams Butchie?
Well, only time will tell, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Nice.
Back to you, Steve. It's the end of my stand-up.
Let's see what I need to tell people about. I need to tell people about Fisher Window and Door Store, sponsor of our 8 o'clock hour, and JEFFLOTTMANN.com. Yeah, JEFFLOTTMANN.com. Yeah, that's Jeff Lotman with Compass Realty and Compass Concierge. With Compass Concierge, you can take your home buying or selling experience to the next level. Whether you're preparing to sell or want to enhance your new space, Compass Concierge has you covered. No upfront costs. Need fresh paint, new carpet, light renovations, home staging, Compass Concierge has you covered. Unlock exclusive benefits. Get your home market ready without upfront costs. Increase your home's value hassle-free. Ready to elevate your real estate experience? Contact us today to learn how the Compass Concierge can transform your home. Go to JEFFLOTTMANN.com. Yeah, that's Jeff Lotman of Compass Realty. And James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Colonel will join us maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, he's out for today.
Maybe tomorrow, Thursday?
Friday. JR tomorrow.
Oh, JR debut tomorrow?
Yeah, JR tomorrow.
Wow.
Arcana, Evergreen Wealth Strategies.
Yeah, how about that?
Presenting you, JR.
James Carlton, Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Now 388 5-star reviews. The most recent one posted 5 days ago by Lauren Bryant. Today, I had the pleasure of meeting with James Carlton and his team at State Farm in regard to an event I work with through the American Cancer Society. From the very beginning, James was incredibly supportive and enthusiastic about our mission. His dedication to community involvement truly sets him apart. James provided invaluable assistance by offering generous financial support. If you're looking for an insurance agent who goes above and beyond to support local initiatives, look no further than James Carlton. We are incredibly grateful for his partnership and look forward to collaborating with him again in the future. James Carlton, wonderful insurance agency, wonderful person, staffs it to make sure that anytime you call during business hours at 314-961-4800, you're going to talk to somebody who works for James and his agency, meaning you're taken care of immediately. It's the best. It's why I'm a very happy client. James Carlton, online at carltoninsurance.net. Let's see what we got here. Chairman Stephen Wildwood making an observation regarding the Design Air Heating and Cooling email that I showdown between Buck Swope and Kevin Miller. And he says, I'm just blown away by the fact that Butchie was straight and then was turned by his girlfriend's dad. Think about it. That's Chairman Stephen Wildwood. Yeah, I feel like that isn't covered enough.
Yeah. Dad must have been putting out some zaddy vibes. That's all I could surmise from that. Can you imagine going to a girl's house for a date and instead falling for her father? This is what happened to Butchie?
Seems like it happened often, too. And with his buddy Ralph's dad, too.
Yeah, that's so odd. But if you can imagine it, I guess it's happened at some point.
Yeah, I don't like that you insinuating that that's not a true story.
Well,
I'm starting to become attracted to my wife's father.
see, it happened to Gabe. Yeah, it happened to Gabe, too. And he thought it was funny. He got a kick out of it.
This is good news on the baseball front, even though they had their wonderful little setup yesterday. I mean, do you agree with but we didn't really spend much time on it. Whoever won the first game was going to lose the second game, not because there was an agreement.
Definitely a split. They both played really hard the first game, and second game, one team did and one team didn't.
Grant Holmes became Nolan Ryan in the second game. Reliever and emergency spot starter Grant Holmes. And the Mets are just up there. All right, 3 pitches. We got to get to Milwaukee.
Yeah, it was the split was clear. But there was a great piece of baseball news yesterday.
Are we going where I was about to read? You know where I'm going? Wow. MLB is going home again for the All-Star game.
Oh, I did read this.
This is even what I was thinking about.
Oh, what were you thinking about?
Uniform changes.
That's what I'm reading.
Same thing!
I said All-Star game.
The league announced a pair of changes for uniforms over the next 2... This is your link, sweet Prince.
Oh, well, maybe I went headline hunting.
Oh, Doug, headline hunting.
I've been moving. It's been a busy couple days.
Yeah, it's a hassle.
I have a feeling Bucks Phelps going to bring that up in his effort to clip Kevin Miller.
I give a damn. Not my boss.
You're not the boss of me.
The league announced a pair of changes for uniforms over the next 2 seasons, one of which being a return to players wearing their home and away kits. Home and away kits.
They didn't have to say kits.
I just read what's in the prompter. For the All-Star game beginning in 2025. Not that All-Star jerseys will be a thing of the past entirely, though. Players will wear special All-Star uniforms for their workout day, and those not participating in the Home Run Derby will don the getup for the event. You had to like that.
The getup. That's what it is. It's a getup.
Sounds like a text name. Don the getup.
You've got a uniform, a nice one. Wear it.
MLB said it's also working with New Era to design a hat specifically for the Midsummer Classic. The league also announced it collaborated with Nike, Fanatics, and the MLB Players Association to solve the myriad problems the league faced at the beginning of the season, beginning in 25 and fully implemented by 26. There will be customization for pant, increasing lettering size, and a return to the previously used materials.
Okay.
That does make me happy.
Thank God.
I saw the light.
Thank God.
Especially the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I mean, it had such an effect on me, I wasn't even interested in the All-Star game now. That used to be my favorite TV show of every summer.
Why do you think they're changing? They heard the show. They heard you bitch about it. And
Probably did.
The All-Star game is your favorite thing every summer?
It used to be. My favorite TV show of the summer was the baseball All-Star game. When I was a kid. I'm not talking about 2 years ago. But the uniform thing,
Waino and Jeter.
The uniform thing made it look like a spring training game or something. It just really had a huge effect on it, for me anyway. It was such a cool look to have all those uniforms out there. Where's our guy? There's our Cardinal uniform.
I prefer that, but I also understood why MLB would opt to go with...
Because there might be another nickel in it for them.
Oh, Bill.
Well, yeah. Once the Rams left, I became cold-hearted when it comes to this whole sports business thing.
Well, it doesn't mean you have to like it.
No.
I understand it. I don't like it.
No.
I still wonder how many of those jerseys they actually sold.
I'd see a handful of them, but I didn't think... not an overwhelming amount.
It was just absolutely horrible.
I think just going back to, like, the names on the back of the jersey, to me, is everything. Like, that is such a cool thing. I know it's, like, super trivial in a way, but
Not for the Yankees.
But when you get to the for them. But like when you get to the majors, like you want your name big on your back. Like you've earned it. You've worked your ass off. Probably spent forever in the minors making no money, and you're coming up here, and now you get to wear the big uniform. You get to wear the one flap. You get to put accessory. Like you've earned your spot. And
they can't wear one flaps in the minors?
I don't think I'd never see it.
Really? They do that in high school and sometimes in college?
I always thought it was 2 flaps until you got to the majors. I've stopped playing baseball in the 6th grade because I wasn't very good.
Okay.
So it's my level of expertise.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the white uniforms at home, and with the Cardinals on the front. And then a lot of teams, Cardinals have Cardinals everywhere, but a lot of teams, the road jersey says Chicago or Detroit. Identifies the city.
Right.
Not just a logo.
It seems like an antiquated thing.
Oh, you just got called antiquated.
Cool. No, I'm not saying it's wrong. I think it. But
damn you, Pale! It's kind of cool.
Oh, I like it. I really like it. I think its roots are in the day where, Chicago's coming to town. They say Chicago because they're on the road. Nowadays, it's not like, it's no mystery who they're playing.
No, but I think most teams do it. Even the Yankees.
Yeah, all of them do. New York does it. Yeah.
The Dodgers, I think, do it.
Yep.
Cardinals might do one.
Dodgers might say Dodgers on the front, on the road. Maybe I'm off.
I think it says Los Angeles.
L.A., great cap. One of the best caps in
Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Uniforms are important to us.
absolutely. And I don't like people saying it is trivial. Nonsense. I'm gonna argue with myself. It's not trivial. It's cool.
It's part of the
Uniforms are cool.
entertainment.
Yeah, uniforms are cool. If they weren't cool, they wouldn't spend so much time developing them.
If you went to a Broadway show or a movie or something, you'd pay attention
Yeah.
to what the people are wearing.
Wardrobe departments.
Yeah.
How about this? 374 people are in the YouTube chat. Chairman Kurt, what's going on? I haven't looked at it until just now.
Sounds like people were just enjoying the back and forth with you and Ed.
No, God bless America. The 374. I thought it was the uniform talk. I like a good uniform talk. Jackson, we're both passionate about this.
Yeah.
What if the Cardinals would have announced Navy caps on the road yesterday?
They could have said
anything else.
They could have said Mozeliak is Chancellor in Chief forever.
I like that, Chancellor in Chief.
Yeah, he could have been in charge of that organization forever. You bring back Navy caps already.
Oh, God. Did you just text me? Oh, Larry Nichols on the line. Doug, he's on the Callier Thompson phone lines.
Okay, good.
Larry, have you watched the Vince McMahon Netflix special?
No, I have not. I don't have Netflix yet.
Oh, yeah.
So you're on the verge of getting it, or you're just not going to get it?
Just waiting this one out.
I'm on the verge of getting it.
Oh, really? What
Yeah,
wonderful
all right.
timing for us. So are you getting it to watch the Vince McMahon series?
That I'm going to be getting it because of Raw going to Netflix in January of next year.
Raw is going there next year. January
Oh,
next
that's right. That's right. I've enjoyed it. My wife has been watching it with me, and she's so confused by the industry, for lack of a better term.
Well, she should be. Any right-thinking person be confused by all of it.
The Bill
And
Simmons
fact that-
production.
And the fact that it's all become such a big deal in our culture, it speaks to the dumbing down of America. The fact that pro wrestling is as popular as this, UFC, rap music, our leadership, we're just getting dumb and everywhere you turn.
This just sounds like things you don't like.
Pretty much, yeah.
Doug.
Yeah.
Wrestling is not dumbing down in America,
Oh,
okay?
I think it is. It's designed for like someone who's about 10 or 12 years old.
To quote the Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler, everybody, an opinion is like a nose. Everybody has one.
I know. I know. Millions of people love it. Millions of people
I'm
have
one of
a
'em.
10 or 11-year-old intellect, I guess.
Gee, thanks, Doug.
Well, not you, but a lot of people. I mean, it's just so incredibly stupid. So incredibly stupid.
Tell us how you really feel.
And some people think, oh, it's hysterical. It's not funny. There's nothing funny about it. But I know a lot of people love it, Larry, so go ahead.
Yeah, the main event is nobody. It was a last monster standing.
Okay.
The rules of that match follow the same rules as a last man standing match. If one monster did not make the 10 count, they lost the match. And the only combatants were Braun Strowman and Big Bronson Reed.
Okay.
And they beat the holy high heck out of each other.
Oh, did they?
All over the arena.
Except they didn't, really.
If you've been watching that for the past 4 decades, Doug, you'll know.
Okay.
But anyway, toward the end of the match, the referee was counting both monsters down. Then Bronson Reed was trying to get up. Then all of a sudden, here comes Seth Freaking Rollins, and he does his finishing maneuver, the stomp on Bronson Reed on the stairs.
The stomp?
They're in the ring. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Braun Strowman made to his feet, and he won the match.
Oh, that's a great win.
Yeah. Nice win for him.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And what makes them monsters? Just because they're big guys? Hello, Larry.
The monsters because they're over 300 pounds.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. But when they hit each other, they don't really ball their fists up. They keep a really light fist so that when you look like you're punching someone, it doesn't hurt. Have you seen that? Instead of really clenching their fist real tight, right when they make contact, they open up their fist.
No, I did not see that, Doug.
Yeah, that's how it works.
You having a treat, Larry?
What?
Never mind. You having something to eat? Sounds like you have something in your mouth.
No.
Okay.
What program are you watching at an incredibly high volume?
Bones.
Bones?
Yeah, Bones.
Okay. Well, it sounds good.
Thank you.
Anything else happened last night on the show we should know about?
Well, there were 2 separate matches with both members of the New Day. Xavier Woods beat Rey Mysterio. And then Chad Gable beat Kofi Kingston.
Okay.
Oh, that's an upset, isn't it?
No, it's scripted television, Tim.
Doug?
Yes, sorry. God, there we go.
Why do
again.
you keep thinking it's scripted?
Well, because it is, Larry. It is. It can be entertainment and scripted. It can be both.
Like I said before, everybody, opinions I could know, everybody has one.
Right, okay.
Vince McMahon had it scripted. If you watch the special on Netflix, he had one script that he was going to impregnate his daughter, and they threw that out.
Yeah, they might want to toss that.
That's what's called a storyline. They were debating on who was going to be Stephanie's baby daddy on the TV.
Yeah.
But they made it to where Triple H was the baby daddy, which he is in real life.
Okay. Well, that's a better storyline, yeah. Who would have found it entertaining that there was incest involved in the McMahon family? Who would have thought, boy, this is good. I got to stay tuned for this. This is fascinating.
For once, Doug, we agree on something.
Oh, look at that.
Good.
Now, Doug, you also agree with Larry that when Mae Young gave birth to a hand, that was brilliant.
Offensive to some.
Yes.
Not brilliant, just incredibly stupid. And people just laugh like it's the funniest damn thing they've ever seen. Are you kidding me?
Look, a hand is a hand.
Right.
Okay.
Were you surprised when the doctor pulled out the hand from 70-year-old Mae Young as she gave birth?
So
I was.
It was just like a sentient hand, like it knew what it was doing. Did it speak?
Larry?
No, it didn't speak. It was like the character Thing in the Addams Family.
Thing. Like the character Thing in the Addams Family.
Okay.
Yeah.
You probably missed the Addams
Born,
Family.
born in '98, so you're gonna maybe.
So from her birth canal came an adult-sized hand.
Oh, so it's like a 6-foot hand?
No, just a
No, but like
regular
the
size
proper
hand.
sized hand. And if I'm not mistaken, Mark Henry was the father?
Yes.
That's so beautiful. That Mark Henry was able to impregnate the 70-year-old Mae Young.
Oh, God.
And they were so happy when the hand was born.
Right.
See, Doug, you crapping on this.
Be creepier. Imagine people have had an abortion and a hand would have come out, and this is what you're going to laugh about on TV?
Larry?
If you have an abortion, that means the baby dies inside the woman.
Yeah.
What? It was just a little definition. That's all it was. Larry, do you have the top 5 countries available?
Yes, I do, Tim, but before I do the top 5 countries, I have an announcement to make.
Oh, Doug.
Next Thursday, I will be making an appearance at the Missouri Athletic Club during the lunch hour, and I'm going to be interviewing 3 more wrestling legends.
Wow, who you got?
2-time tag team champion and 2-time Intercontinental champion Tito Santana, who's in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Speaking of Hall of Fame, another Hall of Fame inductee who is a former tag team champion, Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Barbara Beefcake?
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Barbara
Yeah.
Beefcake.
And Buff Bagwell.
And Buff, I thought that was the same person, but it's not. Huh?
No, that's 3 different people.
Okay.
What are they in town for?
There's SICW put on an event that night.
Missouri Athletic Club has a show every year. I've been the last 2 years with Mark Milton.
STLTaxLawyer.com.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'll be doing during the lunch hour next Thursday.
Nice.
All right.
Congratulations on the gets.
Thank you. And now we're going to do the top 5 countries.
Okay. Go ahead.
Number 5, Mexico.
Okay.
Number 4 will be Argentina.
All right.
Number 3 will be jolly old England.
Okay.
Number 2, Canada. Number 1, United States of America.
Yes! Cool in the game.
I saw some travel site have its best country rankings online the other day, and they had Switzerland as number 1.
All right.
It's
Pish posh.
Switzerland is the number 1 country.
Everybody's happy there.
No, whoever you were talking to, Doug, needs to pay attention to this segment every Tuesday when I'm on.
Okay, yeah.
Well, you've had Switzerland in your top 5 at one point.
Yeah, I feel like they've been in there, Louis.
Yeah, but not number 1.
Never.
Okay.
Yeah, just Philippines that 1 week.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that was about the Marco shoe
The good
collection.
old US of A.
Yeah, God bless you, Larry. God bless these United States of America.
Yeah, God bless America.
All right, thank you, Nick C.
How about this? Recovering alcoholic from Belleville and Wester Groves. Hey, Tim, true story. We're having Buff Bagwell out to IRC to speak to clients and alumni next Wednesday. He's 3 years sober. How about that? God
Illinois
bless.
Recovery Center.
Yeah, there you go. These used to be proper rankings with Paul Reiser in both South and North Korea in the rankings. It's from Brian Henson. He is not happy about Paul Reiser not being ranked and South and North Korea not finding their way into the rankings.
He believes North Korea is a top 5 country in the world.
That's Brian Henson's perspective. Tough spot for the Colts with their quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
So this Mae Young thing, I've heard about on the show now going on almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ever look up a picture. So Mae Young was in her mid-70s if that was going on.
I did see one funny segment years ago when Vince McMahon was supposedly in the hospital and somebody barged into his hospital.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Started hitting him in the head with a bedpan while he was in the hospital. Knocked him off the hospital bed. Now that I enjoyed. That was good.
It seems like security should have intervened.
You'd think.
It used to be a great show. Haven't watched it in years.
Yeah. Well, you're too old, probably too smart now to watch. It really does seem to be geared towards about a 10, 12-year-old intellect.
I don't know. I think it's more like 20-something and 30-something. Am I right? Do any of your peers, and I know it might be.
It might be who's watching it, but they can still have a 10 or 12-year-old
in
intellect.
college, I had some friends who enjoyed it.
Sweet Kai?
No, he would have been a high school buddy, although we did go to Mizzou together. High school, no, 0%. College, some people.
I can't imagine it's huge in Ladue.
No. I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Doug, if I get the tickets, will you go with me to the Raw that's coming here?
No.
Come on.
No.
There's no way Doug's doing it.
Yeah. I was told you can watch a lot of things. You cannot watch that.
I went with a neighbor. Geez, it must have been 15 or 20 years ago. His kid was in it. One of my kids was into it, and he got 4 tickets, and I went. And I mean, there wasn't 2 minutes worth of entertainment in that whole night.
You doing live read?
Watching the fans was the entertainment.
The people watching is off the charts.
Yeah, the fans
Guys,
is a better show than
professional wrestling equals Shakespeare to the fan pin dummies. That's from Doug's Prison Wallet, who covers TMA social media for us. Is wrestling a popular thing on the fan page?
Probably.
I don't know.
Wouldn't know.
Chairman Kurt, I feel like you're the one person who's on there from the group.
Chairman Kurt.
He's on the phone.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
What do you want, Doug?
Oh, Tim asked a question.
Oh, I'm sorry,
of you.
Tim. What can I do for you?
You sack ass.
Wrestling equals Shakespeare to the fan pin dummies. That's from social media correspondent Doug's Prison Wallet. Is there a lot of wrestling talk on the fan pin?
I don't think that's necessarily
Yeah,
fair.
I didn't think I noticed it, but I don't know. Maybe this is one of the secret fan pins.
I'll check the Reddit.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
First time I ever watched wrestling was I was living in Georgetown Apartments. So it was right before I moved to Bermuda, so it had to be like early 80s. And we watched WrestleMania. Some friends I had said, we'll pay for it, get it, and we'll all come over and watch it. And all I remember is that during the broadcast, I couldn't find my cat, Felix. Where the hell is Felix at? You hear meow, meow, all this noise from under the couch. She had 8 babies under the couch during WrestleMania.
Oh, gosh.
I didn't even know she was pregnant.
Really? You couldn't tell?
I just thought she's fat. She had babies under the couch. Look under, there's 8 little kittens under
What'd you
there.
do with all of them?
Gave some away and kept one.
Okay.
But that's the first time I ever watched wrestling.
Yeah. I know it's huge. It's kind of frightening how big it is. They sell out arenas wherever they go, all over the country.
Another popular thing going on the fan page is reselling tickets to events no one wants to go to. That's from the Wilmore Park bathroom
No, I
attendant.
have seen some of that lately.
What are we, like StubHub now?
Yeah, Trading Post.
Like what do they mean by people?
Yeah, what are the events that no one wants to go to?
I think I saw somebody offering some Raw tickets last night.
Oh, nice. Well, people will go to that.
Yeah.
There might have been some events from this past weekend that I won't talk about that people were throwing tickets out for, so...
Evolution Fest? Billy Joel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think Evolution, only for the fact that a lot of people probably were going to Billy Joel and couldn't go Friday, and then there was Sunday, and they had Evolution tickets, so...
Well, I think it was a howling success, wasn't it? They had big crowds at Evolution Fest, from what I saw on the news.
Everything I saw, people seemed to really enjoy themselves.
Yeah. I thought it was a big success.
Yeah, one of my last concerts of the year tonight.
What do you got?
I'm going to see, I'm going to see Stained and...
Stained?
Breaking Benjamin. I really don't want to see Daughtry, but he's opening. And a lot of people are going just to see Daughtry.
So you're upset by that?
Well, you asked the question. Why are you humming it?
Just Daughtry. Does he have a TMA tie-in from back in like 05?
Say the first name.
He goes by Daughtry, Doug.
I don't think he was one of our guys on the show. Although we did get a lot of people from
Idol
on the show.
Scott Sable.
Scott Sable, yes. Wow, that's a nice callback, Chairman. God. Scott Sable.
I don't remember.
I actually think at the time, I said, little did I know how important he would be to the show's future a decade later, but I think I was saying, this was the Morning Grind era, I think that he looked like John Hadley. Scott Sable, I guess I'm going to...
looking it up.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there.
I think I actually said it because I'm like, well, I mean, there's no way that he'll be our boss in a decade. But sure enough,
Is he a meteorologist? Is that
That's the wrong guy.
yeah, no, this is a younger
There's a
guy.
couple-
Oh my
There's
God!
one-
Yeah, he looks like Hadley.
I think maybe Martin was making that observation as well. Yeah, and he could really warble.
Oh, could he really?
Yeah, he could.
Didn't we have that?
Did you find him, Jackson?
Didn't we have that Asian on too? Henry Wong. Didn't he come on?
Oh, gosh, he does, yeah. With a little more hair, a little darker hair.
Hey, big boy, I'm going to be on American Idol. I need you to vote for me.
Simply stated.
And there was a listener that I believe had a tiny obsession with another Idol contestant, Catherine McPhee.
Catherine
yeah.
McPhee, who's
I
now
remember her.
married to David Foster, who I think is 45 years her senior.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, she was very beautiful. I remember her.
Were you the one with the obsession with her?
No. Didn't she win American Idol one year?
Did she win or she finished in second?
Maybe second.
runner-up, 5th season?
Someone had tickets to Raw, 4 rows behind the announcer table. That's from Hoosier Daddy updating us on the posts for tickets on the fan page, which is now StubHub.
I'm afraid to ask how much they wanted for them.
300.
300 a ticket or 300 for a little shoot?
For the deuce?
300 a ticket.
Oh, Doug, you
God,
interested?
600 for the deuce.
People that have that kind of money to spend on wrestling tickets should be smart enough to know that this is nonsense.
And then they get the $300 replica championship belt to wear.
Oh, gosh. It's trick-or-treat time.
You sure you don't want to go?
No way. Did you pay $300 for tickets?
Did I?
Yeah.
No. Nor would I.
Guys, I got a buy one, get one free extra large 2,000 calorie pretzel from the new Annie Ann's downtown. I'm selling for $7 if anyone is interested. That's in the vice president of TMA Special Projects, Mario and Charlotte. P.S. In corporate America, the longer and more opaque your title is, the less work you actually do. Doug, Mario, vice president of TMA Special Projects. He's in Charlotte now.
I wonder if Charlotte got hit hard by that hurricane. It's a ways from Asheville, but God, have you seen some of those pictures? It's just incredible. What
The flash flooding video.
Yeah. Just incredible. Entire towns just wiped out. Just nothing there now but rubble.
Yeah, I said that yesterday. I forgot the name of the city. But everybody's got nothing. Whatever they had, there's like scraps of their houses left.
Yeah. Gosh. You can't hardly even get in there to help right at the moment. The roads are all out and everything.
Yeah, some of those cities said it'll be months before they get their power back on. They got to redo the entire structure of the wiring and the grids. Everything's got to be redone. 2 months before anybody's going to have electricity.
That's tough. Well, we don't really have to worry about hurricanes here, I guess. That's why we live in St. Louis.
We got hit by the hurricane, though, on Friday.
Hurricane-free.
Just not at hurricane
Rains,
strength.
yeah. We're hurricane-free here.
That's why everybody's going to be moving here. And our property value is going to go up 700%.
Skyrocket.
I do see a
We're
lot
in a
of
good position.
Yep, yeah, I like where we are.
I do see a lot of Florida license plates in St. Louis for some reason.
I don't know. Maybe people who have got their permanent residence there, but they still live
6
here
months,
part of the
tax
time.
purposes.
They watch that real closely, that 6-month thing. You got to be sure you're down there for 6
Yeah,
months of
yeah.
a day, I think.
Got to make sure because they're really buckling down on expired plates here.
No, it's not the expired plates. It's the lack of state income tax down there. That's why people want to live in Florida for 6 months or more.
Oh, I thought you said you had to keep an eye on those 6-month plates.
The state of Florida and Missouri keep an eye on exactly where you're living. Missouri wants their state income tax, and Florida says you can keep it.
How can you say we don't have hurricanes here when we have Hurricane Harbor? That's from Sweet Sweet Kai.
Oh, gosh, I'd forgotten completely about that.
Still?
I'm so sorry.
Fright Night's coming up soon.
Is that at Six Flags?
Yeah.
Fright Fest.
I suppose Plowsy will be there.
It's fun.
Hawk loves it.
He gets the no scare bracelet so that the little Hoosier boys can't come up and scare him. He flashes it like Shedeur Sanders.
How could you possibly go to a Halloween party called Fright Night or whatever it is and not expect to be scared at some point?
He's probably got
Somebody jump out and say,
THC going
"Boo."
through his gills. You can't freak him out like that. He's paranoid.
But when you know it's coming, is it even possible to be scared?
It's dark and they come up behind you. And, "Rah."
But you know it's coming. You expect it. You
Not at all
paid for
times.
it.
Not all times. You're
Some
waiting in
people
line
go for the
ride.
rides. They
Yeah,
don't
it
wanna
is
be-
fun to
they don't
ride.
wanna be afraid.
Yeah, it is fun to ride the rides at night.
But you've paid to go to this Fright Fest.
Fright Fest.
So why would you possibly be surprised that someone's going to come up in the darkness or something and say boo?
You might not want it though, and it's the only opportunity you really get to ride the rides at night, and that's really fun.
And what if the guy behind you is going to scare you? Doesn't see your bracelet. You got to walk around with your hand in the air the whole time.
It's glow in the dark, but yeah, it's the way it does, like Shedeur Sanders. You just
Don't scare me, please.
Plowsy does it, not me. I go. I don't want to be scared.
Talk about a snowflake.
I don't mind when you're walking around the park and like there's some little ghoul that pops up and gives you the business. But I'm not going to any of those haunted houses where the whole point of it is to walk through and have some
But you know it's
toothless
coming.
guy yell at me.
Wow, that's Ledoux looking down on the common man right there, Doug. That's what
They
it
just
was.
don't have. I found a lot of them had dental issues. They should visit 100 West Dental with Dr.
Oh, wow.
Brandon Pryor.
Well, yeah, you go to 100westdental.com, assuming you have dial-up based on Jackson's perspective. So I guess call from the phone booth, 636-585-0100, and you'll be able to work with Dr. Brandon Pryor. No insurance, as Jackson expects is the case for you. That's not a problem. The membership plan aids in the cost of dental work for those who do not have dental insurance, and right now, they have a huge offer going on that if you mention my name, you get $1,000 off an Invisalign package. People need to understand that, sure, going to the dentist might be one of the things that you want to do. Hey, I understand that. Dr. Brandon Pryor understands that. But dental health is not separate from the rest of your body's health. It can impact your overall health. Go somewhere where they understand that and are going to take care of you. And on top of that, no phone calls needed to get in. Just check the calendar online for availability, and you can book right then and there. It's 100westdental.com. Let them know you're a TMA listener. 100westdental.com. Dr. Brandon Pryor, 636-585-0100. 100 West Dental. 100westdental.com. Doug, Hot Take Mittens. They've been out today, brother.
Let me get them on.
They've been out today, and they're sponsored by EDF. Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of TMA? It's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com. So your email's in for our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day, which coming up at about 9:50 will feature a showdown for the month of September. Two guys won 7 apiece. Kevin Miller and Buck Swope. Kevin Miller had a 3-goal lead on Buck Swope.
Yeah, he did.
And now Buck Swope rattles off 3 straight wins, and you got a showdown today, brother. Who do you think's going to win?
Well, I just don't know.
Do you mean know or care?
It's a toss-up.
On a day like today, I feel like Swope has the upper hand. He's quite good
But
at...
what if Butchie got penetrated?
Well, it's a day that ends in Y, so I would assume that that's going to be the case. But Buck Swope's good about weaving in a bunch of different topics, and I think with this Cardinal press conference, I think he's going to have a real good way to weave it all in.
I don't know. We'll see, won't we?
So I would say Buck Swope's minus 125.
Okay. Buck Swope's your favorite? All right.
Okay. Well, that'd be a comeback for the ages.
Yeah. That'd be tough for Kevin Miller to come back from.
Right. And as old as Miller is, we don't know if he's got it in him to make another run.
You don't know if he'll live to the end of October, is what you're
Right,
suggesting.
right.
Email the day narratives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are narratives.
Wasn't it last year that Miller started out like gangbusters? Didn't he win
Yeah.
2 or 3 months?
Yeah. It'd be good if someone kept records of this, but I don't. And so I wish I could give you more analysis there, but he definitely had a run there of winning months.
That was a dead ball era.
Dead ball era.
Yeah, that's when
There's
nobody
no
else
Blueberry
was-
Pop.
That's when Henson was emailing in 5 times a day.
Well, quantity over quality.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. It helps Swope a little bit that his emails are generally read last. So we remember that a little bit more. And
So
the
should we
last-
do a reordering today?
Perhaps, because sometimes the last laugh you have, that sticks with you, and you tend to vote for that.
Wow, so you're downplaying Buck Swope's greatness, man. That's
I'm
not a good
downplaying
idea.
it. It might be an unfair advantage that he's got.
So you want Butchie to be read less today?
Why don't we do that?
Okay, there it is. Butchie?
Okay.
I think that's going to be good for Butchie.
I think it could be.
Tighten it, though. You're not, Kevin Miller, you are an emailer, you're a great emailer, but you're a great emailer for like a paragraph and a half. Once you get into the 2 or 3, long. Long. Buck, he's a multi-paragraph guy.
Is he?
That's his strength.
Yeah.
The
He
thing
talks
about
that way, too. He talks in
Yeah.
multi-paragraphs.
what makes Nikola Jokic one of the best players in the world is that no one can speed him up. He always plays at his own pace. Play at your own pace.
I think he had it was on TMA Best of. I think it was Swope's picks on Jeannie the Lesbian. Janie the Lesbian.
Call in big lesbian.
I mean, I was in the car for 10 minutes. I never heard Janie speak. As soon as I get out of the car, she goes, "That's correct." That's the only thing I heard after him talking for 10 minutes.
Well, he asks long questions.
And long emails.
Well, now it sounds like you're down on him.
I voted for him yesterday.
Did you? Okay. Well, who knows? Maybe what if someone other than are those the only 2 emails we're accepting today?
No, we have 2 email contests.
Yeah,
two
we got
separate
2 going.
contests.
There's a showdown and
All
then
right.
a
I got
general
you now.
pop.
Okay.
Pay attention, old man.
All right.
I mean, that, I feel like the show advanced at that moment. Like that, it became a better thing after that Symphony of Drops. I feel like he advanced the concept of what the morning after could be in that moment.
Don't overthink it, Swope. He just hit a couple drops. That's all that happened. Same show.
Why would you say same show?
Well, to try to really analyze what goes on here, it's probably a fool's errand.
He's been doing it for years.
There's really no reason to. Nothing's thought out here.
Well, a lot of times we ask him.
You know, it just doesn't seem like this is anything that's serious enough to be analyzed by an expert somewhere.
It's a great show.
Well, it's a show.
Man, I don't like hearing that.
Okay.
Send your emails in. Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today. 25 minutes away. Then Jackson and I get on a hallway. I can't even imagine the level of happiness that will be going on 101 ESPN today. So we'll have Balloon Party from 10 to 11. There is your captain's log for today here on TMA and Balloon Party. This is the Morning After, presented to you by Brown and Crouppen, closing out our Fisher Window and Door Story to Clock Hour.
Hello, it's me, Tom Schmidt. I'm happy to tell you about Salt and Smoke and all the...
I'm going to let you finish, Tom, but first, why don't you take a break, okay? You've been doing this for 57 years. Have you had time to think about that? Waffle cones, World's Fair? No. Lean brisket, popovers, Cracker Mac, whiskeys, bourbons, custom cocktails, maybe even wings trashed. I don't know. But that doesn't matter if you don't accept my love, Tom. Will you accept my love? Will you kiss me?
Salt and Smoke.
Oh, and Iggy should quit.
This is Eric Conley, the founder of Illinois Recovery Center. At Illinois Recovery Center, our substance abuse treatment goes beyond mere recovery. It's about reclaiming lives filled with purpose, joy, and connection. Our dedicated facility is more than just a place of healing. It's a beacon of hope for individuals seeking to reintegrate into society and thrive in their work, family, and community roles. Our team is ready to help. If you or someone you know wants more information about the Illinois Recovery Center, please visit IllinoisRecoveryCenter.com.
If you talk to someone who has had a kitchen remodel, say, from Collier & Thompson, they'd probably love to show it to you and say, look what our place looks like now. Collier & Thompson does it, and they do it right. Also, football season is here. You might want to update that man cave. Nothing better than sitting in a comfortable man cave, and Collier & Thompson can make it look like the best place in your house. You want an appliance? Maybe an appliance for the holidays. You're thinking about that. They've got the top brand names. They got Bosch, Thermador, Wolf, Sub-Zero. Got them all. Old Stacy is the appliance guy. He'll do you right. Matthew and Eric are the appliance installers. Also, they are looking to hire some lead contractors. If that is your line of work and you'd like to work for the best company in town that does this sort of stuff, Collier & Thompson is the one to look for. They've got almost everything, and it's all right there in-house. No need to go to 5 or 8 different places to remodel one room. With Collier & Thompson, the countertops, appliances, lighting, flooring, hardware, plumbing, electric, you name it, it is all right there in-house. They will take absolutely great care of you. Collier & Thompson on Manchester and Baldwin, next to Uncle Bill's Pancake House. Collier & Thompson, come home to quality. Online at collierandthompson.com.
Thinking about selling your home, but not thrilled about going public? Check out Compass's Private Exclusives with Jeff Lotman. With Private Exclusives, your home is shown to a select group of serious buyers. No public listing, no days on market, just real offers from real people. Their network connects you with top agents and qualified buyers, so your home gets the attention it deserves without all the fuss. Selling your home can be simple and stress-free with Compass Private Exclusives, because your home is special. Call Jeff Lotman, your Compass agent, today to find out more, or visit the Lotman Group online at JEFFLOTTMANN.com.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan. I regret not managing my finances better in my 20s and my 30s, and now I see how crucial it is for achieving major life goals. Mark Hanna with Evergreen Wealth Strategies helps everyday people every day with their finances, discussing cash flow, liquidity, investments, insurance, and tax-efficient strategies. No matter your financial planning stage, Mark will boost your confidence and keep you on track. Learn more at evergreenstl.com.
Equitable Advisors, LLC, member FINRA, a broker-dealer, and a SEC registered investment advisor. Equitable Financial Advisors and MI. Evergreen Wealth Strategies is not a registered investment advisor and does not provide tax advice.
The choice of a lawyer is important and shouldn't be based on an ad.
If you're seriously hurt in an accident, you'll want all the money you deserve. That's called justice. But there wouldn't be lawyers if justice was easy. No, justice is not easy. It's fought for and it's won. At Brown and Crouppen, we fight for justice every day. If you want some, call 222-2222, because at Brown and Crouppen, justice is our business.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like a steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
Want to take on some legends of TMA?
Sound the same to someone who gives a damn about the best fans in baseball! Tired of it!
The show's so great. Will there be a little speaker system out behind the dumpster, so in case you're servicing me, I'll be able to hear my name?
Then nominate yourself to be this month's TMA Listener of the Month. And if you win, you'll get recognition and other stuff. Sometimes all you have to do to win the prize is be a female.
All it takes is one fake girl to just throw this show completely off course.
Give us your name, a photo, and other pertinent information at TMASTL.com. The TMA Listener of the Month Club, quenched by Milagro Tequila. Welcome to a brighter side of tequila with Milagro. Find out more at TMASTL.com. Introducing the first ever TMA Banty Brew, a 16-ounce canned wheat ale with orange and coriander and an image of all 4 TMA boys across the front. The Banty Brew, a refreshing ale made with white wheat, ground coriander, and fresh whole oranges. And now you can pick up the TMA Banty Brew at Salt and Smoke or at any area Friar Tuck's location. Must be 21 or older to consume or purchase. See the can at TMASTL.com and find a participating location to try it for yourself. Brought to you by Charleville Brewery and Winery in St. Genevieve, Show Me Beverages, and Salt and Smoke. Find out more at TMASTL.com. KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. KPNT HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis.
It's the Brown and Crouppen Morning After.
Oh, it's Halloween time, isn't it?
It sure is. Getting there. 30 days away.
I drove by Forshaw on my way here today, Doug, and I saw they had the Christmas lights up and the Christmas trees. Did you have a problem with that?
There's no other store like Forshaw. Christmas light, a little early for that.
I've never seen October 1st.
Yeah.
Although they probably don't move a lot of Halloween product at Forshaw, so...
Probably not.
Let's just focus on...
Winter holiday.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm sorry. Hey, I'd like to take a minute. Personal news.
Yeah, please move all items to the side.
I used to see that place like almost every day when I worked at Grassi's. Because Grassi's used to be right next to Forshaw.
It still is.
Right behind
now it's in the back. But the building used to be right next to it, and they moved the building way to the back. But,
they moved the building? Really?
Yeah. It used to be right behind Forshaw. Now it's like way on the other end of the parking lot.
Yeah.
There's like a bank in between the two now.
Yeah, but Jerry Watts used to be the owner. And every afternoon, all right, Iggy, take over. I'm going next door to play poker. Or go play gin rummy with the guy at Forshaw.
Okay. I'm sure those toads on Candy Cane Lane are putting up Christmas lights already. That's from Tervis Parish.
Toads? I'm sure it takes a long time to put up all those lights.
Yeah, for real. When do you put your Christmas lights up? Right after Thanksgiving?
About that. I usually look for a good day in December. I'm not going to do it in the cold.
And you're
done with that.
Chevy Chase it your way up there? And
yeah, I hate it. It's one of my least favorite things to do the whole year.
Any stations playing Christmas music yet?
Oh, that'll start up.
I don't know. 102.5 plays nothing but Christmas music from about November on.
Hey, Tim. I'm playing in the Belle Reve 2-day member guest starting today. The Stagmaster. Oh, it's called the Stagmaster? I'll be thinking of you, your greatness, your calves, your swing, your hole.
He's going to be
Love
thinking
me.
about your hole?
Clip that off. That's from the Need for Seed.
that has to be like a secondary member. There's no way they do member guests in October.
On a weekday?
Yeah. It's aggressive.
Eliminating, though.
That might be for like the staff.
Like Blousy
They just aerated yesterday.
Yeah. Aerated and go out and play that member guest with the sand all over the greens.
Guys, you think we could maybe turn the AT&T building downtown into a Spirit Halloween to get the value boosted up? That's from Vice President of TMA Special Projects, Mario in Charlotte. So already he's starting to do some things. He was just appointed TMA
Right, he's busy.
Vice President of Special Projects yesterday.
They're going to turn the AT&T tower into a...
Spirit Halloween.
Like a corn maze?
No, for Halloween costumes.
When there's vacant buildings,
Fill them with costumes.
Well, we're celebrating it here. We got a pumpkin in here.
Pumpkin.
Sure do.
Got a pumpkin?
You want to see how blind I am? I did that on when we had that fall gathering outside. And I had sunglasses on. I had my glasses on. I just took a magic marker and started writing TMA. Look at that. Not even close to me.
What's the matter? It says TMA on it.
But look at the lines. They're all over the place. I couldn't even see it.
Well, it's not that easy to write on a pumpkin.
Yeah.
I think you did a fine job.
All I had to do was take a magic marker and write a T and A, and it was all over the place.
How bad are your eyes? You can pass a driving test at least, can't you?
I can see to drive.
Okay. But not to look at a pumpkin.
It's more close.
You don't wear readers or anything, do you?
No.
God, you're running like Elvis, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I've been lucky with my eyesight.
Hair and eyesight.
You got it all going.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Rugged good looks.
Oh,
Bill.
Impossibly handsome.
God, why aren't you on OnlyFans?
Put that off. Yeah, I got readers, Doug. It's reached that point now that I'm approaching 50.
Oh, have you?
But I got to tell you, I think I look pretty good in them.
When do you wear them? I've never seen you with glasses on.
When I'm reading and working at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a picture. I'd like to see you in class.
Yeah, Tim, please take a
that's
selfie.
Eliminating.
Duck lips.
Yeah, duck lips outside of Napoli.
Maybe some orthopedic shoes. Will you take a picture of those? I'm sure you look great,
I'm
Tim.
already wearing lifts.
Brian never stops as we caption that.
Do you get like the Walgreens magnifiers?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a tiny little amount.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell they are, so I just got them at CVS like last year. Some days it's brutal, and some days it's completely fine. Like, obviously, when I'm doing this, I don't wear them. But, yeah. Doug, I don't know what to tell you. I'm a 48-year-old man, you know?
Yeah. All my kids needed glasses in their teens.
Is that right?
I think I'm going to make 70 without needing glasses.
Man, that is outstanding.
I don't know what
I'm
happened.
lucky, I guess.
I had glasses in grade school. And then I didn't have to wear them anymore. And then I just never wore them. And even through my 20s to early 30s, I wore fake glasses.
Why?
I actually found them when I was in New York. And they were selling these glasses, just regular lenses. They weren't magnified or anything, just glass. But the frames were lovely. So I said,
Don't say lovely.
I like that. The frames were lovely.
So I bought them just because they looked good. I never wore them. Never needed them. And then I started wearing like the magnifying glasses from Walgreens for many years. That just screwed everything up.
Yeah.
And now I'm to the point where these is as high as I can go with these. Can't go any higher with the prescription.
I think I told you once when I was early 20s working in Rochester, Minnesota, all of a sudden I couldn't read the teleprompter doing the sports. So, oh gosh, I guess I need glasses. I went in and tested. They said, yep, you've got astigmatism. Here's glasses and here's contacts. Oh, hell. So I started wearing the contacts, and they bothered my eyes so much I just took them out, stopped wearing everything, and more than 40 years later I just don't need them anymore.
What now is going on?
They just got stronger, I guess, by not counting on glasses and contacts. My eyes, like any other muscles, got stronger and better.
They pulled themselves up by the bootstraps?
They did.
Oh.
They did.
I think the most nervous I got with my eyesight was, excuse me, I'm clearing my throat, listeners. There you go.
Well, hit the mute button.
Yeah, it's right in front of me.
Oh, there it was. It did work.
But they flew me to the Golf Channel to do the 19th hole with
you and Brandel?
Me, Kelly, Tillman, and Dave Marr Jr. at the time was still working there. And they had a segment where at the end of the show we each had our final parting shots. We did a topic. So I'm sitting in the hotel, and they said, when you get into writing it, just send it to us. I think I had to fax it. Go downstairs to the hotel, fax it to me when I'm done writing it, and we'll have it in the teleprompter. I said, well, how far away is this teleprompter? Because I really can't see that well. And I was afraid the teleprompter was going to be so far away that I couldn't see it to read. You know what? It was pretty good. It was right pretty close to me, so I could read it, but I was so afraid I was going to have this whole thing written down and I wouldn't be able to see it and I wouldn't know what I was saying. So there's my...
that's the story?
That's my story about the only time I was really nervous about not having great eyesight.
Was this on television?
Yeah, I still have a VHS of it at home.
I've got hair that people would die to have.
What network was this on?
Golf Channel. I'm still the only person they flew in for that. We did it from the Morton Steakhouse, I believe.
Really?
Yes.
So you were a regular member of the Golf Channel's TV crew?
No, just that one time.
Oh.
But 30 minutes ago, you guys were chatting about iced tea.
Yeah, I like iced tea.
I did the show with the three of us, and I think our special guest was Trip Eisenhower. Then we all went
grandson, maybe? Who the hell
No,
is
he's
Trip Eisenhower?
He's on the tour. Better amateur player than a professional player.
Not related to Ike?
No.
You can't have a last name Eisenhower and not be related to Ike.
I think it was actually spelled with an I. I-S-E-N.
I don't like that.
Then we all had a nice steak dinner at Morton's afterwards.
Okay. But your part went okay on the TV show.
Well, I was on for the whole show. Yeah. But the last part I had to do by myself. We all did our own little parting shots.
Well, what did you talk about?
I think I talked about the LPGA.
I didn't mean to exhaust you. Didn't think that would wear you out.
No, I think, and I know Dave Marr and I got into a argument over Tiger Woods.
Well, who's Dave Marr Jr. think he is?
Who is he?
Son of Dave Marr?
Dave Marr was a very well-known golf analyst on, I think, CBS or maybe NBC.
And a pro player himself.
Yeah, and then Dave Marr Jr. was on the Golf Channel, and then he went in to do the Champions Tour for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
I know we were arguing something about Tiger Woods. I got the VHS, me. I'll break it in one day.
Have you?
And where? Put it where?
Just let's sit there with all the other crap.
Fair enough.
You can take it to the library and get that dubbed down onto a flash drive.
I still have a VHS player.
Oh. Well, so when it came time for your little speech, you really let the LPGA have it.
Muffin Dever, whatever the hell is that?
Muffin Spencer Devlin.
New texter.
I always feel like not giving it out. You know,
I was
it's too
comparing.
good.
I was comparing two tours. I think I don't know. Maybe the Nationwide Tour, the Nike Tour, whatever it was called at the time, about how they treated fans compared to the LPGA, and how they really didn't. How their pro-ams were, people bitched about the pro-ams because nobody talked to them, things like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
The LPGA wasn't too happy, but
But you were able to see it at least on the teleprompter.
I could see it. I was a little worried I wouldn't be able to see it, and I would start flubbing my words. I can't. A little bit closer with the I can't see it.
Oh. They have a teleprompter at Channel 4 now because sometimes the anchor is, 20, 25 feet away from the camera. They have a teleprompter that's like a 75-inch TV.
Oh, is that right? Really?
Yeah. And because you're so far away from the camera, you can't see that their eyes are looking slightly away from
Yeah, I was worried it'd be too far. It wasn't a big teleprompter. I was
Yeah.
afraid it was going to be. I'm sure the texters are happy about this.
They're not. I mean, the anger right now.
About what? I just told a nice little story about the
I
Golf
was
Channel.
enjoying it very much.
I can't help it that I have notoriety where they flew me in to do something, and
That's what this was about. This was a humble brag about flying somewhere.
pretty much.
Oh, God. Doug, our vice president of special projects, is really kind of feel like he's got something going here. Imagine you could swing downtown, grab a pretzel and a costume of your favorite superhero. We will need armed security to make sure your car doesn't get raided, but I think we might have something here. That's from Vice President of TMA Special Projects, Mario in Charlotte. I think he was the one, or maybe that was Sniffin' Holes, who's observing that there's communists on Twitter celebrating anti-hands in downtown. And now he's going to combine the anti-hands by making the AT&T building a spirit Halloween. So you can get the pretzel and then you go get your costume.
Well, that makes sense, but how does he know they're communists?
I don't know. Or maybe that was Sniffin' Holes who says these are communists. I remember the IKEA being a huge deal and thinking, God, this is sad.
We got a store.
But I didn't know that there's been a lot of celebration for the anti-hands.
Biff built it.
He hasn't even mentioned it yet. Guys, I see now why you couldn't squeeze Gabe in today. That's some Larry Thornton.
I bet you were walking tall when you arrived on set there, having been flown in, ready to read the prompter. Hot LPGA
Vince
tape.
McMahon.
$1 million walk.
I played golf with Kelly the next day.
Kelly, who Kelly who?
Kelly Tillman.
Kelly, who was that? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know Kelly Tillman. I know Pat.
Well, she was on the store. She was on the show.
Well, I didn't watch the show.
I think she played at North Carolina, I believe.
Where did Kelly Tillman?
Should have known. How could I?
This
thought she was at Wake
audience
Forest.
knows late 80s North Carolina Tar Heel golfers.
No, they don't. If they follow golf, they know who Kelly Tillman is.
No way. It's 2024. Who the hell is Kelly Tillman?
She's still doing stuff for the Golf Channel.
But you'd have to watch the Golf
God,
Channel.
I do watch the Golf Channel. That's why I'm surprised to hear it.
Just very rarely. She's not full-time, but
She doesn't have a Tarico
she
deal.
comes in for special things.
Now, did they fly her in as well, or just you?
No, she worked there. She lived in Orlando.
So they didn't have to fly her in.
I wonder if all those people are pissed when they moved the headquarters to New York. They all like living in Orlando.
I bet they did. Why would they move to New York?
They just
That'd be a lot more
They
expensive.
just moved the studios and offices to New York. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see. She's listed as a former broadcaster. Her last appearance was 2020. during COVID, and she hadn't broadcast for 2.5 years.
Okay.
I could have swore I saw her about 2 months ago.
Well, she's probably long in the tooth at this point, isn't she?
Where'd she play golf?
North Carolina.
I may have been wrong about that. I don't know.
Oh. You just guessed? She threw that out
No,
like
I
you
thought
knew.
she played at North Carolina. But Tim was reading it, so I thought maybe it's not where she played.
Duke.
Oh, wow.
Well, same thing.
Calling it
It's not
Duke
the same
player.
thing.
Right down the street. Same
8 miles
state.
to Tobacco Road.
Doug, as you know, she won the 1990 Furman Lady Paladin Invitational.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Furman University had a little tournament, and she won it. And that got her onto the Golf Channel.
Well, she's a Blue Devil.
Yeah.
I think our girlfriend played with us, too.
I think how fun it would be to play golf at Duke. It seems like it would have the life.
Or Furman.
Doug Chairman Steve won the Milagro Tequila Listener of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
I am on my way to the studio, and if Doug asks Iggy another effing question, I'm going to give him a Rudy Tomjanovich.
Oh.
Also, I think we have time. Can we hear about the second time Iggy watched wrestling? Make sure you include what apartment complex you were living in at the time. Why do you guys hate us?
Oh.
From Stephen Wildwood.
Why are you coming to the station? For what?
He's going to hit me for asking you too many questions and keeping the story going.
Well, you won't be allowed in the building, so.
Oh.
I got you, Steve.
Chairman, you're going to let him in?
Well, chairman to chairman.
I'm going to get the Rudy Tomjanovich treatment? Or I just turn around and I get punched in the face?
This is coming from a guy that bores the hell out of everybody who's listening when you call into this show for your 30 minutes of nothing.
Oh. Mm. Why do you hate us again?
Well, it's just every time I tell a story, it's the same thing. I can't win if I tell a
It was
story.
a nice story.
Tell them to shut up. Why do you hate us? See you next week. I'm gone. Blah.
And hurry up and get your email in, Butchie.
Oh, wow. Is he conceding? This will be known as the concession, Doug.
No, he'll send it at 9:53 and then be pissed off at me when it didn't get to the folder in time.
Been there, brother.
Well, he knows it's
there.
getting read last, so maybe he's taking his time. He's probably nervous as hell. He probably got no sleep last night.
Listen here, Butchie. If it's not in by 51, it's not in.
Oh, my!
You can't tell him that if we don't start reading until 53, 54.
I mean, I kind of run the filtered file.
I'm looking at 5 emails in the filter file. I do see, and now I think Butchie just sent it in.
Oh, he did.
I put the bat signal out. There he is.
Okay.
And it's already in the filtered file, so you must have read it.
Nope.
Oh,
so you
it's
just
an
put it in
FCC liability.
So you just put it in the filtered file?
I trust Butchie.
All right, so you don't really need to put it in the filtered
Do you
file.
want to do this?
Oh, God.
No, I used to do it, and I really didn't enjoy it. I didn't have a filtered file. I just threw them all in there.
Who did it better?
I don't know. I didn't care. I trusted Tim to, if he got
Edit
to
on the fly.
a bad word, he just wouldn't say it.
Oh, that was the system until I read an email, and an advertiser thought that the emailer was mocking their place of business, and then Gangster Pete was terminated for not properly filtering the email.
Yeah, that was the worst.
And then, as was the case oftentimes over the weekend, we got his job back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Design Air Heating and Cooling Email of the Day! Remember, at the end, we'll have Buck Swope and Kevin Miller tied at 7 for the month of September.
All right.
But I will start with our other emailers. And Young, that's it. I'm out. Too much strode down the stretch. Good luck with the emails, though. Clears phlegm from throat directly into the microphone. Thanks. That's signed #1 Asian intern Brian Henson, DBA ASMR Muffin Spencer Devlin. Maybe I'll bring you in the VHS one day.
Brian Hinchin.
Coming off the obvious high of the Cardinal big announcement of not doing anything different next year other than getting rid of popular players, they have set up a suggestion box at the Ladue Long John Silvers to enhance the fan game day experience. My sources are telling me that the leader right now is that for each player making $20 million or more that is traded, Raby can float the blimp an extra lap around the stadium, dropping coupons for $2 off helmet nachos or $1.50 off if you include a drink. Hey, what state license plates do you guys see a lot of here in St. Louis? Guys, hello? That's from Shooter McGavin, the vice president of Lovely Fake Glasses for scribbling illegibly on pumpkins.
Shooter McGavin.
I never asked that question. I just mentioned.
You see a lot of Florida plates.
Yeah, that wasn't a question. It was a comment.
I watched in awe as my uncles took us seemed to swallow the recently refurbished rib detachment from the Sibian I procured from an estate sale in Country Life Acres.
No.
As he increased his cadence, a bead of sweat ran down his cheek, and his colon seemed to shed tears of spiced ground beef. It stung my nostrils. It piqued my curiosity. Is that an inflamed hemorrhoid on your boy rim, or is your prostate just engorged with love? His brown eel became my meal. Think about it, Doug. That's in the doo-doo man.
See what I mean about the dumbing down of America?
You think professional
Doo-doo man.
wrestling caused that email?
What's messed up is the guy who sent that might be the most intelligent person of us all.
Janoris Jenkins.
Yeah, doo-doo man.
I can't help that I have notoriety where they flew me in to do something. Thanks at N Young, #1 Asian intern Brian Engine. I played golf with Kelly Tillman the next day. Psh, how do you not know who that is? Do you even watch the Golf Channel? She was very good. Chick golfer, whole deal. Clears throat loudly into the mic. Wonder if all those people were pissed when they moved to headquarters to New York. I could have sworn I saw her 2 months ago. This really is the worst show in America, and it's not even close. That's from Brian Engine.
Brian Henson, point 2.
Let me toss a couple of hypotheticals at you guys rapid fire. If Notre Dame finishes the season 11-1, would they have a better chance of getting into the playoff if Jesus changed that loss into a win, just like he turned water into wine? Let's say Mizzou went to Brown. Do the Tigers have a good chance of winning the Ivory League crown? And would that conference championship automatically qualify them for the CFP? Here's another scenario, and I'm just spitballing here. What if Mizzou goes 11-1, but their only loss is to the 1980 Miracle on Ice hockey team? Would the whole roster receive silver Olympic medals, or just Coach Drinkowitz? And what if Mizzou defeats Booches? Would they legally have to start serving French fries with their tasty burgers? Last one, if the Tigers beat the 1927 Yankees thanks to a 70-yard field goal and a tree falls in the forest, but Babe Ruth's ghost doesn't hear it because he went deaf from getting syphilis at a St. Louis Hooer house, would Lou Gehrig be eligible to win the Heisman? Thanks, I'll hang up and listen. That's the JV golf coach, vice president of special cuckings.
I see. JV golf coach, vice president, special cuckings.
His girth was impressive. The way he extruded his used-up biofuel gave me shivers. How? How is this possible? How can a man with such a tight little rust knot open for such an effortless release? It got me hard. He is everything. He is the poster above my marital bed. He is Doug Vaughn, and I want to taste his khakis. From Danny Tanner, Doug in the Filtered File.
Gosh, that's uncomfortable. Danny Tanner.
Marriage bed. Didn't they use that back in like the 14th century?
Not to mention, I feel like a corduroy is a more rewarding pant.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're down to our final two. Buck Swope and Kevin Miller.
We're on to the playoff now?
This is the playoff.
So we're going to have 2 different votes today.
2 different votes. Now, theoretically, they both could win for October and their showdown.
Yeah.
Do you follow that?
Sure,
Do you follow that, Iggy?
sure, yes.
Yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Buck Swope. Congrats, I'm Bloom on being named the Cardinals' president-elect of baseball operations.
Yeah, he is.
Bloom said it takes boldness and humility to get on top and stay there. And if you stand still and you rest on your laurels for even a moment, you get beat. Which is exactly what the 3 men sitting next to him have done since winning the World Series in 2011. Starting with the hiring of underqualified managers who all subsequently committed managerial malpractice in the 9th inning of playoff games, and continuing with the just try to get in postseason strategy, which has resulted in 0 NLCS wins over the last decade, while teams with veteran managers win the World Series every year, and culminating with their skimping on player development that has set the organization back years. The DeWitts and Mo have nothing to hold their heads down about except the fact that they rested on their laurels and squandered decades of accumulated goodwill with the fan base. I'm just glad to see Gersh landing on his feet as vice president of job you won't get fired from as long as you continue to keep your mouth shut. That's what the special projects are?
I
Job
so.
you won't get fired from as long as you continue to keep your mouth shut?
Wouldn't mind having something like that.
Let's clean the palate with a WWE recap, simulcast with the TV show Bones, and reflect back on when a 75-year-old woman gave birth to a hand delivered by a cop. It's really a shame Gabe couldn't join us today so he could ask about Mizzou's chances of getting into the college football playoff if they beat Alabama and lose to Buffalo. Can't wait to see who wins Jackson's unwitnessed coin toss tiebreaker for Listener of the Month. Plenty of good choices, including the 50-something guy who writes gay Hoosier erotica, the beer bitch from Baldwin, and the unemployed petite lesbian firefighter from Brooklyn, who Iggy doesn't think is real because he pretended to be a bisexual woman on AOL chat when cybering with his brother-in-law 25 years ago. Doug, that's Buck Swope.
I know it is. Buck Swope with a nice little email this morning.
And perhaps the biggest email of this man's life.
Okay.
Here we go. Kevin Miller. Accountable demise time. My email yesterday was too long. My bad, because sometimes less is more. Except for when it comes to my buddy Butchie, because his long hog is legendary. And no story is more legendary than his story of redemption. He never forgot the heartache from the Marianne breakup. Some people don't know that Butchie is a heck of an umpire. 2001, White Cliff Park off Party Road. Butchie was working in over 70 league, and then he saw it. Marianne's dad on the back of a jersey. When he came up to bat, Butchie had a wide strike zone. 3 pitches and the man was out. Started complaining, and Butchie took charge. He kicked his walking stick out from underneath him, and he fell to his knees. Then Butchie whipped out his blue veiny custard chucker, filling his mouth.
Oh!
Butchie was mic'd up so the speakers echoed with squishy gagging sounds.
Why would he have been mic'd up?
And then Butchie yelled, "Umpire rule, everybody finish on his face."
Oh, come on, Miller.
It ended with Marianne's dad's face covered with the other team's Golden Ager fun gel.
Oh.
That's from Anya Shaft, Vice President of Special Erotic Emails. Doug, that's what we have.
Anya Shaft.
Design Air Heating and Cooling email today.
Oh.
Showdown. All right, let's start with our votes for the showdown. Kevin Miller, Buck Swope, what you got?
Showdown. I'll vote for Miller. I don't know why, but I am. Just because I think he's a little aged, and I think this may be his last shot, last go-around.
You're the Bill DeWitt Jr. of email votes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a chance here because I feel if I vote for him, I could get fined by the FCC. I'm going to go with Miller.
Oh, my God! God, I was voting for Buck Swope. I got to be honest with you. Kevin Miller has won the month of September.
Congratulations.
What a win.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a custard shucker that got it for me.
Yeah, I've always said if I can picture what he's talking about, I usually vote for him. And I could picture the umpire.
Marianne's dad?
At home plate, and the old man getting his cane kicked out and getting romped.
Oh.
Cane getting romped. Doug, our winner for the first email of the day, winner presented by Design Air Heating and Cooling for the month of October.
Okay. I'll go with the JV golf coach on that one.
I mean, he was good enough to win the playoff, and it was the only decent one, so I'm going to go with Miller.
I think I'm going to go with the doo-doo man, Jackson.
JV golf coach.
JV golf coach has won.
Okay, I'll be good.
Look at that.
Congratulations.
JV golf coach, you have the lead for the month of October. Kevin Miller became Alabama. He had the lead, big lead. Saw Buck Swope mount a Sunday charge. But when it was all said and done, Kevin Miller found Ryan Williams, and that 17-year-old broke off a spinorama and went into the end zone.
With a kill somebody written across
Kill
his
everybody.
face. Kill everybody written across his face. And everyone's just okay with that?
He was 17.
I don't care how old he is. You don't say kill everybody across your face, do you?
I don't think he's being very literal with that.
Nonetheless. You would think maybe the coach would have said, you're not wearing that. Didn't mean to rain on the segment. It just occurred to me at the time that, seriously, kill everybody? That's
Not in the
your
literal
message?
sense. Like in the sense of sport. Like, you're across from me, I'm going to kill you.
I know, it's not a great thing to
Well, I wouldn't campaign on it, but...
No.
Jackson and I aren't going to campaign on anything. We're about to go down the hallway, and we're about to get it handed to us. They're not going to be happy. But we're going to do our best. You know, I mean, what do you do?
I think you'll get through it.
What do? You go down there and you do your best. It's Balloon
Maybe
Party.
some more huge changes will happen between now and the time your show starts. They're happening so fast now, it's hard to keep up with them.
Fast and Furious. We'll head down the hallway and we'll deal with it. They won't be happy. Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Switch your YouTube channel or your streaming device or even your radio for that matter. To 101 ESPN, balloon party coming your way for Jackson Bennett Burkett, for Chairman Kurt, for Kenneth Iggy Strode, for my brother Kevin, for Douglas Elvin Vaughn. I'm Tim McKernan. This closes out the 5P Academy and Hustle and Heart Sports Performance 9 o'clock hour here on TMA. Presented to you by Brown and Crouppen.
You're hearing TMA all day on KPNT HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. Featuring the morning after, live from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then a full show replay from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Followed by the best of TMA from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. And another same-day replay starting at 10 p.m.
The choice of a lawyer is important and shouldn't be based on an ad.
After a serious car accident, people have two questions. Why me and what now? Well, no one knows why you, but I'm Terry